This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Yankees will open the new baseball season shorthanded. Right-hander Luis Gil is out at least 3 months with a lat strain in his pitching shoulder. Infielder DJ LeMahieu out several weeks with a left calf strain. And there's still no clarity how long Giancarlo Stanton will be out with pain in both elbows. In the NBA, the Thunder have won 5 straight, and they should cruise to the top seed in the Western Conference. ESPN's Kendrick Perkins believes they have a great chance to play for the title.
When you hang your hat on the defensive side, the sky's the limit. Even when you're not shooting the ball well, and that's what we've been seeing out of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Kendrick Perkins. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Bengals will allow defensive end Trey Hendrickson to look for a trade. Adam also reports the Rams will sign wideout Tutu Atwell to a 1-year, $10 million fully guaranteed contract. Women's basketball conference tournament play today. 18th-ranked Tennessee knocked out in the second round of the SEC tournament by Vanderbilt.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Friday. Legal tampering is right around the corner, so I'll tell you which players and teams I'm keeping an eye on. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right! Woo!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Jake Madison, 1 hour from right now. What scenarios do we need to see unfold for the Pelicans to ever get good again? We'll talk about that. Kendall Rogers next hour. Y'all can yell at him about the stream for D1. Chris Stanfield, Tiger center fielder, here in hour number 3. Oh, and I'm going to tell you why the Saints should draft Quinn Ewers. That's coming up later as well. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, Muse, you owe your career to Buzzy Heidel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
The buzzard came through?
You'd have been fired. You have to thank the buzzard. Finally.
Look at that.
Somebody finally delivered. After all these really cool LSU giveaways, I wanted the baseball sweatshirt a couple weeks ago. Nobody came through. I wanted the basketball Mardi Gras jersey last week. Nobody came through, which is stunning because who's going to basketball games right now anyway? Maybe just to get the Mardi Gras jersey.
I was about to say, people who wanted the cool Mardi Gras jersey.
Well, LSU had these really cool shirts, gray shirts with the script Louisiana, the tail underneath spelling out State University. Loved it, saw it. I said, Muse, you got to go to the box and get me one. If you don't, you're fired. Muse said, I'm not doing that. I said, well, you're going to be fired. The buzzard came through. Buzzy Heidel ran down after our interview yesterday and got one. But you know what he texted me, Muse?
What did he text you?
The only size they had left?
Yeah.
Medium.
Medium. Well, I mean, that's good, though.
No, I'm a Marge.
You can't fit in a medium at all?
Well, here's I debated this. I debated wearing this to open the show today.
Yeah.
But I haven't put it on yet.
That's what I was going to ask if you tried it on. Okay, continue.
It's, by the way, the brand is Gildan.
Famous T-shirt brand.
It's one of those where you rip the tags out because, you know.
They used to sponsor the New Mexico Bowl anyway.
Anyway, so I got this medium, and I thought about wearing it. Then I thought about having under this shirt and open it, because this is one of those Snap shirts, right? Shout out to the Snaps brand, great brand of shirts. And just doing this and now I'm going T-bob. I'm showing off my, way too many unbuttons.
There we go.
Anyway, and having the shirt underneath. But then I was like, but it's small. Do I do that? I don't know. You know what I'll do? I'm a man of the people, Muse. If the people want to see me try this on and wear it for a seg, I'll do it. But
Okay.
it's up to the people.
Okay.
Do you want to see Scone put on the tight T-shirt to see what it looks like?
If it doesn't fit you, can I have it?
No. Be a sleep shirt for Erica. What are you talking about?
That's a good call. Thank you, though, to Buzzy. I can continue to afford to eat, so I appreciate that.
Did you see the really cool Joe Burrow shirt that I got at Endymion?
Yeah.
So if you missed, actually, I think I have a picture of this somewhere. I think it's on my Twitter. So I'll pull it up for those who are watching. I promise we have sports stuff to talk about today. I promise. There's this is one of those where I have more to talk about than I'll probably have time to get to. But one of the floats at Endymion made these shirts. It's a white T-shirt, and it's got like a silhouette of Joe Burrow, Mardi Gras mask, and then Mardi Gras beads, and the bead has a 9 as the, what would you call it, like the pendant at the bottom of the bead. Really pretty awesome shirt. And like 2 days ago, I woke up and Erica's wearing my shirt. I'm like, hey, no. You don't, like, that's not yours. That's you don't get to keep that. She's like, oh, man, I know. I'm like, no, I don't think you do. Like, this is not one that just automatically goes into your drawer. This is mine. I want it. You can't have it. Get your own.
Isn't that one like a extra large there or something like that?
Yeah, it's an XL.
Yeah, now that's a good sleep shirt.
Not for her. I mean, I'm sure it is a good sleep shirt for her, but that's not going to be the purpose of the shirt. That's not going to be the purpose of the shirt. Okay, it's after further. So thank you to Buzzy Hydell. Came through for the shirt so Muse can continue to work here. Otherwise, he was fired. All right, it's after further review. Thanks for being here with us. That game that we were discussing, of course, was LSU against North Dakota State. And as I think we kind of predicted and assumed might happen, the Tigers came back a little more focused. I guess it's understandable if on Mardi Gras Day you got to go play a baseball game after, these hellacious storms and everything that rolled through here, tornado warnings and everything, and then you're playing a team that's not any good, 1-9 on the season, a cumulative batting average of 197, a staff ERA of 11, and you go out there, sleepwalk a little bit, find yourself down, then rally to win. Tigers were locked in. They scored 7 runs, 7 runs in the first inning, and there's a couple of things in this game that I thought were pretty impactful, but here was Jay Johnson after the win.
Yeah, it's a good performance by Williams. Set a good tone in the first inning and really loved the at-bats in the first inning. I think we had 10 consecutive quality at-bats to start the game and got off and rolling. So, again, a good offensive performance. You and I were talking about the other night since the Omaha game, or 8 in a row, where I think we've scored a minimum of 7 or more in 8 consecutive games. And these guys are playing a good brand of baseball. After putting up a 7 spot in the first, LSU came through with a Bear Jones opposite field home run in the third. Here's how it sounded.
Curiel stays put. This one is smoked to right field. Deep back and in the diamond deck. Jared Jones, a little Oppo Taco. A 3-run job. Tigers lead it 11-1.
So Jones hit the 3-run homer. He came back in an inning later in the fourth, came back in the fifth, hit a 2-run homer. So LSU was off and running at that point, and Jones with 2 opposite field homers. You continue to see teams not really know what to do with Jared Jones, and it doesn't matter if it's Kansas State or North Dakota State. Do you walk him? Do you put him on base to get to Dickinson? Do you pitch to him? Do you try to stay away from him? We know he's got power to all fields, and he can hit for average to all fields. So he has really made himself, during his time in Baton Rouge, a true complete hitter, and he's so fun to watch. 2 home runs last night the opposite way on a day where the wind was blowing to right. So they pitched him away. He took it to right, took 2 out of the park. That was awesome to see. Tigers put up 13 runs on 10 hits. And then, of course, the other part of this was William Schmidt, who finished the night with 7 strikeouts. This is how that 7th strikeout sounded on the LSU Sports Radio Network.
0-2 pitch, looking for strikeout number 7, and there it is. Once again, caught him with the bat on his shoulder, 93-mile-an-hour heater right down the middle for out number 1.
Schmidt went 4 innings for the Tigers in this game. Wasn't efficient. He threw 73 pitches. He walked a couple. He hit 3, which is unfortunate. And he was charged with 2 wild pitches. Now, the 1 run they scored against William Schmidt, they ruled it a wild pitch, but that's bat bleep crazy. It was a fastball that was up and in. Luis Hernandez got his glove on it. It went off of Hernandez's glove to the backstop, and the run came home. I don't know what official scorers are thinking sometimes. Like, the position is catcher. Catch the ball. The ball was over the plate. It was up and in. Catch the ball. That cost you a run. Against North Dakota State, it doesn't matter a lick. In an SEC weekend, that could matter and be the difference in winning and losing a conference game. So catch the ball. That continues to be an issue for this team. And it, I would tell you, is their single biggest issue. I know there is pretty consistently this question about the walks and the hit by pitch and those the free bases being given up by LSU pitching. But here's what I would submit. I think, by and large, the volume of those that are coming from guys that may not be key contributors once you get into conference play and the postseason. Look, you're not going to go into the postseason using 15 pitchers. It's just not going to happen. You'll have your up 10, down 10 guys, like, you know, when you're losing to Florida in the College World Series by 26 runs or whatever it was. Yeah, you throw whoever out there just to get through the game to save your arms for the next day. But the guys you're going to count on, Anderson, Ianson, Shores, Binge, Evans, Cowan. I got to make sure I check myself every time to make sure I say Cowan and not Cohen. Cowan. The guys that you know you're going to count on. Like, what are they doing? Like, Jacob Myers went out last night, faced 6 hitters. Didn't allow a run, but he walked 3 guys. Like, you do that, they're not going to trust you in an SEC weekend. Okay. You know, I think that's more what I'm looking at. If Cooper Williams goes out, faces 2 guys, walks them both, that stinks. But I'm probably also not putting him in a second and third, 1-out situation in the bottom of the 8th in a 1-run game against Tennessee. That's going to be Case and Evans, and he's been really good. So that's kind of where I fall on it. Listen, it's a growing sample size. It's an evolution throughout the season. We use that word all the time, but it's true. You use the first month to figure out, based on what you think you have, you put guys in those situations and see who delivers, and things will work themselves out. Like, Luis Hernandez has the upper hand at catcher. That's pretty obvious. Jake Brown, I think, has got to be your everyday right fielder. They're going to rotate, and Pearson's going to play a lot as well. But the guy that's kind of been left behind a little bit is Ashton Larson. Like, we feel really good about Milam at short, which was a question before the season. That has been answered emphatically. So a lot of that we're figuring out, and there's some stuff that's still unknown. And some of it's going to be roles in the pitching staff and things along those lines. But all things considered, right now, you know, there's a really talented team. Offensively, they can beat you in so many ways. And you're getting a lot of guys, innings and work and experience and reps, and they're just hardening throughout this time. You're learning more about them. So another win for the Tigers. They'll play a 3-game series at home this weekend against North Alabama. And then you're into SEC game week, and it's going to start to look like that, where you have your midweek game and then your weekend series in conference play. So a week from Friday, LSU's at home against Missouri, opening up conference play. All right, it's after further review. We've got plenty of LSU baseball stuff to talk about. Kendall Rogers, 1 hour from right now. LSU center fielder Chris Stanfield will be with us in hour number 3. We've got a ton to do, and glad you're here. Our show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light if you're going to be boiling crawfish. Look, boils and buds, great combination. You want that boiled crawfish, make sure you have plenty of Bud and Bud Light. You can find it at great local retailers everywhere. You know that much. Make sure you look for the LSU aluminum bottles wherever you're shopping. You can support the Tigers wherever you go, and you're kicking back and throwing back a few buds as well. With your boil or your baseball, it's Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. All right, y'all, Thursday shows are brought to you by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. I do have a good bit of SEC and LSU football stuff I want to get to. Tigers open up spring practice on Saturday. I'll give you some spring storylines. Strength of schedule rankings have been updated. We'll get to a lot of that stuff throughout the day today. When we come back, though, Joey Bosa played for Brandon Staley with the Chargers. He's now a free agent. Should the Saints kick the tires? We'll talk about that next here at AFR.
After further review.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen Air Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every day to buy local and shop local with their 4 locations. Man, I'm going to tell you, this is just an awesome time. We got a little bit of a cold snap coming this weekend, but it's still the perfect time, and you're running out of time, quite honestly. if you're thinking about planting that citrus tree, that fruit tree, this is the time in these cooler temperatures when you want to get that in the ground. This is the ideal planting time. Your spring vegetable garden, this is when you get the seeds in the ground, like right now. So don't wait. If you're thinking, man, that would be a fun thing for the family to do. Get the kids together, teach them responsibility, watering the seeds every day, taking care of it as it grows, and you'll have produce in your backyard, which is really pretty cool when you think about it. Clegg's can help you through that entire process. Get on by and see our friends at Clegg's Nursery, any of the 4 locations. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Oh, that's a lively tune, Muse.
You like this one? Or wait, I don't know if you're being serious.
That's a lively tune.
All right, good.
More so than usually like the drab, boring stuff you play all the time.
I don't really totally agree with that.
A little emo heart bleeding over there. Tell you what, my guy. Tell you what. Hey, the New Orleans Saints have gone and made the thing official. They've announced all of their coaches formally. We knew them all already because they've all been reported. And but it's official now. All the assistants have been named. So all the people who we've talked about over the last month, they're all now formally been announced by the New Orleans Saints. Hashtag breaking. Bigger question around the Saints is how they're going to fix this roster now. Having new coaches and all is fantastic. You could be high on Ellen Moore and all that good stuff.
Ellen Moore.
We could be high on Ellen Moore and
Ellen Moore.
I mean, after the Carr news last week, I just kind of want to lean into it a little bit. But clearly, The bigger thing the New Orleans Saints have to fix is the roster, and that is going to be, in my opinion, a years-long process, and it's going to take a lot of strong work in the draft. It's really your only way out of this. You've got to get young, inexpensive players who will overtake your old, expensive players while their contracts purge. That's your way out of this. So you've got to hit in the draft. But as we know, the Saints are going to go spend in free agency, just like they did a year ago. They went and added guys like Chase Young. They went and added Willie Gay. I mean, they went and added guys in veteran free agency that were going to help them win. And the Saints continue to say that they're pretty committed to winning now. And there's two pass rushers. Obviously, the Saints were one of the worst in the league at getting to the passer last year in sacks. Chase Young individually had a very high pressure rate, but the Saints, as far as sacks, were at the bottom of the league. So how do you fix that? Well, there's two players that on Thursday, well, one is formally available, the other is likely to be available, that no doubt are going to garner a lot of attention here because of a lot of connection to the city and to the organization. So first of all, we'll talk about Trey Hendrickson. Adam Schefter reported that the Bengals have granted Trey Hendrickson permission to seek a trade. Hendrickson said it's been a privilege to honor and represent Cincinnati, loves the city, the organization, but appreciates the opportunity to explore his options. He wants a deal kind of like what Max Crosby just got from the Raiders. And I don't blame him, man. You get in the NFL, you get one chance really for a break the bank contract like that. When you are the NFL sack leader and you're a candidate, a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, it's your opportunity to cash in. And the Bengals have not shown a willingness to give Hendrickson that type of extension that he seeks. So they're going to let him go explore options to sign elsewhere. Let me be very clear. There's no reality in which the New Orleans Saints should even consider re-signing Trey Hendrickson. I love the player. I wish they had prioritized better when they drafted him, and he never would have left. However, at this point, you cannot justify spending that amount of money if you're talking about a 9-figure contract for an edge rusher when you are nowhere close to winning. You don't need one player. It's not like saying the Philadelphia Eagles were Saquon Barkley away from winning the Super Bowl. You're nowhere close to that. One guy isn't going to do this for you. You've got to get many guys. Instead of the one Trey Hendrickson, give me 10 starters. That's what you need to be. That's the mindset you need to be in right now. So would you love Trey Hendrickson? Of course you'd love to have him back. I wish they didn't screw it up in the first place with their lack of priorities and fiscal irresponsibility. And he's been awesome. He's the NFL sack leader. He's great. Great player. Would love to have him back. Wish he never left. But there's no scenario that I can contemplate where giving Trey Hendrickson or anybody a 9-figure contract now makes sense. Short of Patrick Mahomes. If the Chiefs wanted to get rid of Patrick Mahomes, I'd say, all right, figure that thing out. Make it a 20-year contract, spread money over years or whatever, funny money, accounting the Saints want to do, great. Do that. But not for a defensive end, not for Trey Hendrickson. Now, Joey Bosa is more interesting. If you missed the news, the Chargers have released Joey Bosa. Bosa is a former first-round pick. He was the Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2016 when he had 10.5 sacks, 17 TFLs. He made 4 Pro Bowls in his first 6 seasons. As a matter of fact, he set an NFL record, Joey Bosa did, with 19 sacks in his first 20 games. As a result, the Chargers paid Bosa accordingly. They gave him a 5-year, $135 million extension in 2020, and since signing that deal, he can't stay healthy. He has played in just 28 games over the last 3 seasons. It's massively disappointing for a guy that they sunk so much resource into and had such a great start to his career. Now, it's fair to mention that this year, 2024, Bosa did play in 14 games. It's the most amount of games played since 2021, which, by the way, was his first season with Brandon Staley. That's the connective tissue here. So Brandon Staley, the Saints' new defensive coordinator, was the head coach of the Chargers and coached Bosa for 3 seasons. Now, those seasons were a little up and down because of the injuries. But back in 2022, this was this was in January. So this is January of 22, after Staley's first season as the head coach in L.A. with the Chargers. This is what Staley had to say then about Bosa.
Well, he's got really good instincts. You know, you've heard me talk about Justin Herbert's instincts, but Joey's got really good instincts as a rusher. He's got outstanding feel for the person blocking him and the feel of the depth of the quarterback, the rhythm and timing of the play. And so I think, you know, he has really, really good instincts. He can really see and feel, you know, the set and the type of, you know, pass that's happening. And I think that, you know, the big time rushers that I've been a part of, whether it's, you know, AD, you know, Vaughn, Khalil, Leonard, you know, Bradley, some of these guys that are high level rushers, they have rare instincts. And, you know, I think that's really stood out to me about him.
Of course, AD being Aaron Donald, Staley was the defensive coordinator, the Rams, before he went to be the head coach of the Chargers there in L.A. And when you look at the one season where Bosa was healthy under Staley, played in 16 games, double-digit sacks, had 10.5 sacks, 51 tackles, 5 TFLs. Now, that was 3 years ago. That was 2021. So I guess if you go into 24, you say it would be 4 years ago, going into 25. But you look after that, played in just 5 games in 22, 9 games in 23. This year, finally stayed healthy, as you mentioned, played 14 games, but that was without Staley. So, you know, I think you look and you say, all right, if he's healthy, he can still be a productive player at 29 years old, but how much is it going to cost? Is Joey Bosa lining up for a 1-year prove-it deal like Chase Young did? Maybe. This is a guy that's made a bunch of money, signed a 9-figure deal, and now is approaching 30. Or is he looking for the second multi-year deal of his, since his rookie deal, right? You have your rookie deal, then he signed his big-time $135 million extension. Is he looking for another maybe 3-year deal with some guarantees wherever he goes? That's going to be a giant question for Joey Bosa. It's what does he want? Is he going to go to the highest bidder? Is he going to go to San Francisco and play with his brother, Nick, which is a possibility? Is he going to go to a contender? And we saw Ndamukong Suh do this late in his career. He would just hold out and then go wherever he felt like he could win. Went down to Tampa, played with Tom Brady. Went up to Philly, played with the Eagles. Like, just going to go play where he feels like he can get a ring. And he's ring chasing. God bless him. I don't blame him at all. Like, what does Joey Bosa want to do at this point in his career? When you made a bunch of money, you've had injury issues, like, do you want to go play with your brother? Do you want to go ring chase? Do you want to play where you're going to be your most productive? Maybe that's with a guy like Staley if they have a good relationship. I don't know. Look, J.J. Watt was on the Pat McAfee show today, and Watt's another one of those guys who was, you know, he's a Hall of Famer, undoubtedly, but Hall of Fame career, then boom, injuries cut him down before he was probably done playing. And, you know, Bosa's got this question, like, what really do you have left?
I believe he is still very effective as a situational pass rusher. I think that he probably prefers some of those less snaps as well. Just as the body goes, you want to still rush the passer at a high level, but not have to, you know, do some of those grinder things down there in a 6 technique. So still plenty left for him.
That's where I would say is Joey Bosa looking for a 1-year deal as a situational pass rusher and the opportunity maybe to go play with his former head coach? If that's the case, then yeah, this makes sense. If he's looking for a multi-year deal, you're not investing that type of money. Same thing we talked about with Hendrickson. You're not investing that type of money into a 29-year-old player. Hendrickson's younger, don't misunderstand, but you're not investing a long-term resource with your cap situation into an older player that's had injury issues. So, I mean, if you got Chase Young on a 1-year prove-it deal, that'd be about the only thing you'd consider with someone like Joey Bosa. Listen, if it's cheap, sure. If it's a multi-year, no. You've got to get younger. You got to go draft. Like, this is going to be my mantra this entire offseason. You have got to replace your old, expensive players with young, inexpensive players. Like, that is, like, tattoo it on the forehead of every single Saints executive. Get rid of your old, expensive players, replace them with young, cheap players. Like, that is how, it's what you did in 2017 when you nailed that draft, when you had Lattimore and Ramczyk and Kamara and Marcus Williams, like Trey Hendrickson. You nailed that draft. You got young and talented. Boom. In one weekend, you transformed your organization because you got young and talented in one weekend. That's the challenge in this year's draft. Look, the Saints need pass rushers. Maybe in Brandon Staley's defense, we see Isaiah Foskey wake up. I mean, you could roll your eyes. Couldn't I also look at what just happened with Zach Bond and go, in the right situation with someone who knew how to use him, all of a sudden that guy with a ton of ability became one of the best defenders in the NFL? I'm not saying that's going to happen to Foskey, but in 2 years, Foskey's got 25 tackles. He's basically been a special teamer or a healthy scratch. Could you get something out of him? I mean, Cam Jordan's old. Chase Young's a free agent. Carl Granderson underperformed with his contract this past year. You need pass rushers. Like, you've got to go address you've got to go get pass rushers. But you got to find young, talented ones. Or old, cheap ones, if that's how you could get Joey Bosa. It's about the only way it would make sense. All right, it's after further review. Thursday shows are brought to you by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. Love telling you about Blasia and the great team over at Decision Critical. You know, maybe you're bringing home a new baby. Maybe it's end-of-life care. Maybe you had surgery and you need help at your home. Maybe you're an adult now caring for your elderly parent. You need help at home. Decision Critical, their concierge nursing service is exactly who you need. You can log on to the website, schedule that discovery call, and have that conversation about the options that they have. It's not healthcare. It's healthcare for your lifestyle. It's Decision Critical. DecisionCriticalBR.com. Okay, y'all, let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back, go around the SEC. Ton to do. The Pels play the Rockets tonight at home, and it's not worth talking about the team, in the game tonight. It's more about what should we be cheering for collectively as they play out the string these next few months toward an offseason where you're going to be at or near the top of the lottery in a pivotal offseason to hopefully remake your team after the BI trade. We'll talk about that with Jake Madison in about 30 minutes from right now. Kendall Rogers next hour. Chris Stanfield, LSU center fielder, will be here in hour 3. Ton to do and glad you're here. It's AFR.
After further review.
Brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. I tell you all the time, think about hosting an event. The Renaissance, Baton Rouge. Perfect. Call Allison Crump, my friend over at the Renaissance Hotel. She's in charge of all the events, the event coordinator at Renaissance Baton Rouge. They have 13,000 square feet of meeting space. So it doesn't matter what type of meeting you're holding. Like the LSU football team, the Friday before home games, where do they stay? Renaissance Baton Rouge. They moved the entire football program into the Renaissance for a day. Had their team meals in the grand ballroom. They have all the different breakout meeting rooms where the cornerbacks meet, the quarterbacks meet, the offensive line meet. They got all that. You need a boardroom for a dozen people, elegant boardrooms with all the connective technology that you need. You can have your meals in there as well. Wedding receptions, fundraisers, awards banquets. Renaissance Baton Rouge is perfect for an event. So call Allison Crump over at Renaissance Baton Rouge. She'll get you connected on everything. At Renaissance, they say we're in the business of saying yes. It's Renaissance Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Hey, congrats to Dan Lanning, the Oregon coach. You know, you win the conference, first year in the conference. You have an undefeated season. You're the number 1 seed in the college football playoff. You get rewarded. Guy's getting a new deal. He'll make $11 million annually on this new deal. 6 years through 2030. A buyout if he leaves is $20 million. So they got him locked down there in Eugene. But why would you leave? Great team, investment from Nike, making $11 million. Lanning's just 38 years old. He's 35-6 in 3 seasons there with the Ducks. Congrats to Dan Lanning. I tell you though, it's poor coaches having to deal with NIL in the portal. Feel so bad for him. I feel really bad for Dan Lanning. I mean, I'm sure there's probably somebody who left Oregon this year that he wanted, right? He probably spent some time recruiting somebody. Muse, do you know anybody? I'm sure there was.
Yeah. I mean, look, the number 2 wide receiver in the country, he signed his letter of intent and then said, no, I'm going to go to Florida. You don't remember that?
No,
yeah, that
happened.
That. 5-star guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's a tough go of it,
there.
man. Hard business.
I feel really bad for him.
It's a hard life.
Really bad for Dan Lanning. $11 million. I still can't understand how all you people, all you adult humans, can't see the absurdity. Like, by the way, good for Dan Lanning. That's awesome. Good for you, seriously. Dude's busted his ass. He's done an awesome job, 35-6. Has a great program, great exposure, playoff, won the conference championship, played in the Rose Bowl. Awesome. $11 million, he's probably underpaid. And honestly, probably underpaid. But spare me, okay? These dudes make tons of money in what is a giant economic engine. I don't feel bad for them when you're making $11 million that you got to deal with the number 2 receiver leaving to go to Florida because he got a better NIL. Don't care. You make $11 million. Figure it out. Right? And then you know what the adults go, well, you know, you get an education. You know, in 1976, that was a good argument. When coaches were making like $36,000 a year and dudes got to go to school for free and get an education that you could always fall back on that degree. I mean, so like I'm a manager here. I hire people. I have never, not once ever, in an interview said, can I see your degree? There's one employee who's still in school. I keep begging this employee to leave school so they can work more here. They're in school to do this. I'm like, I will hire you full-time right now. Leave school. I've been saying this for like 2 years. I'm not going to say the person's name, but and they know, and it's kind of been a friendly banter back and forth, but I'm dead serious. Like, if that person left school, there's a full-time job with benefits waiting on them today. But that person's about to graduate now. Literally was going to school, like paying to go to school, and was taking like a podcasting class. And I'm like, what? I can teach everything you need to know. I got a really successful one, actually, on top of the radio show. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Point is, like, Michael Van Buren. Michael Van Buren this year, as a backup at LSU, is going to make $450K. That was his NIL deal. I got a question for you. You listening, you. Yes, you. You ever make $450K in your life? You ever made $450? Not $4.50. You ever made $450K?
Nah.
No?
Nah.
Musso at the box ain't crushing it like that?
Not like that,
no?
man.
Paula, you? $450K? Huh?
Unfortunately, no.
You got a degree, yeah?
I do.
Muse, you got a degree, yeah?
I do.
Yeah, no kidding. No, y'all ain't made $450?
Mm-mm.
So this dude who's 19, maybe 20, gets to make $450 while in school. But you're going to tell me, you're going to talk to me about the value of a degree? Kick rocks. The top 5% earners in the United States of America start at $335K. If you make $335, you're in the top 5% of the country. So Michael Van Buren, a backup quarterback, is going to be one of the top 5% of earners in America this year. And you're going to sit here and try to sell me on the value of a degree and get out of here with leave my we have nothing to talk about. In a world where players play the games that people pay to see, the reason there's tradition funds and the reason there's suites and premium tickets and a 12-team playoff and billion-dollar TV contracts, you know what? Because of the players on the field. The adults saw an opportunity, grew a giant pile of money, and they were keeping it all for themselves. The players finally said, screw y'all. Good for them. Good for the coaches, too. Good for Dan Lanning making $11 million. Good for the players for getting what they deserve as well. You want to go back to a world where the only way you see the game is if you buy an $8 ticket? We can go back to that world. You want to go back to a world where if you wanted to see maybe one game on TV, you had to pay for it on Tiger Vision? Like, you want to go back to that world? Okay. But if you live in a world where face value on a ticket to watch LSU play Nichols is $75 to sit next to St. Peter in the nosebleeds, you got to pay to park. The concessions are ridiculous. Oh, by the way, billion-dollar TV deal, all that. You want to live in that world? And the adults are getting paid? Yeah. Good. Yes, pay Dan Lanning $11 million. But if you don't think the guys on the field playing should be paid as well, you're just hypocritical. Because there's no world in which if I put you in that person's shoes, you'd be like, you know what? I don't want the money. I'm good. I'm here for love of the game. That's all. It's after further review. Brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing, parrishbuilt.com. Hey, I want to remind you, at Parrish, we do offer financing. So if you need to replace your roof and maybe you're having issues, maybe it's not an insurance claim. Maybe you have to, replace, it's an older roof, you just got to replace your roof. We offer finance, 18 months interest-free financing if you qualify. We can even help finance your deductible. So let's say your insurance claim is approved, but you have a 3% deductible, whatever that number is, and you're having trouble coming up with that number. We can finance interest-free for 18 months, even your deductible. No matter what it is, if it's repairs, replacement, commercial or residential, we have a gutter division, a soft wash division. We can help with fortified roofing. We're all encompassing, and we're local. We'd love to help you out. Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing, parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. All right, let's move quick. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Florida Gators.
Florida quarterback DJ Lagway is going to be limited in spring. Billy Napier says he's got a shoulder issue. Didn't identify or specify the nature of the injury. Lagway is going to participate in spring. He's not going to be throwing the ball much, if at all. Lagway was 6-1 last year as a starter. Florida won 4 straight to close the season.
The Auburn Tigers.
Former Auburn offensive lineman Cam Stutz is returning to the program on staff. Couldn't stay away long. Former team captain. He'll be on the staff helping with the offensive line on the roster there. He'll coach as a quality control assistant. Stutz spent 6 seasons at Auburn, finishing his career in 2023. Started the final 2 years at right guard.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia offensive coordinator Mike Bobo signed an extension before the 2024 season. So I'm sorry. So this is just now breaking that he signed the extension before the 2024 season. It will run through the 2026 season. Georgia last year entered fall with high expectations. Didn't really go that great. They averaged about 9 points per game fewer than they did the year before. Of course, Carson Beck got injured. Now he's at Miami. Bulldogs open spring practice on Tuesday.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Vince Marrow is a candidate to become the new head coach at Bowling Green. He did conduct an interview, according to Football Scoop. Former Falcons head coach Scott Loeffler just left to become the Philadelphia Eagles quarterbacks coach. Been at Kentucky since 2012 there with Mark Stoops. So Marrow's one of those long-term tenured assistants at Kentucky, but a candidate to be the Bowling Green head coach.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
And it's the final weekend, tuning up before the start of conference play in baseball. And Chris Lemonis is making some changes to the rotation. Left-hander Pico Cone will be the Friday night starter. He'll stay in that role. But game 2 now will be Ben Davis. That's a shuffle. Prior Saturday starter Carson Legion will move to the Sunday role. Davis enters the rotation from the bullpen, where he's been pretty reliable. 10.2 innings pitched. State opens a 3-game series against Queens on Friday. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Thursday shows brought to you by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. You can check them out online at decisioncriticalbr.com. Well, now I got our final break here of hour number 1. Talk some Pels with Jake Madison in 13 minutes. Kendall Rogers next hour as well. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
When you woke up this morning, did you struggle to get out of bed? Did you just sigh, roll over, hit the snooze button? Remember when you were younger, like your feet hit the ground and boom, out the door, ready to roll? Did you plan on going to the gym today, but you're like, I'm tired, I'm just not going to go? Y'all, that is part of aging, and we all accept it. How often he says, hell, getting old. Can't eat like I used to. It's hard to lose weight. How many of you have said that? Doesn't have to be that way. See, as we age, our body produces less of the hormones that contribute to how we feel. In 2025, you can safely and affordably supplement to get yourself back to healthy levels to feel like you did when you were younger. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness can help. Learn more online at yourgoodwood.com. Again, yourgoodwood.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank & Trust, the bank that cares about you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wildin'.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Wrapping up hour number 1. You probably saw this maybe in the last half hour or so, but Matt Zenitz is now saying it's official. Wilson Alexander was the first to have it. A little breaking news. LSU's got a defensive line coach, and it's one that is going to really, I think, excite LSU fans. Wilson reported that LSU is targeting Kyle Williams to be the next defensive line coach. Williams, of course, was on the 2003 National Championship team, was an All-American at LSU in 2005, first year under Les Miles. Played for the Buffalo Bills all 13 years of his NFL career, was a Pro Bowler. It's a massive leap because Kyle Williams was a coach on staff at Ruston High, his alma mater. So he was coaching high school. He's going from high school to being a position coach at the Power 4 level at LSU. I mean, that is a massive, massive leap. But you want to talk about credibility, a guy that, having done it, a guy that loves LSU. If you're looking for stability, I mean, a guy like Kyle Williams who played at LSU, coming back to LSU, that certainly feels like that could be it. Now, you had that with Bo Davis as well. Bo was disenchanted with the nature of college football and where it is, where it's going. But, I mean, if I'm being completely honest with you, not that I would ever lie, and I'm doing this a little off the cuff here because this news is just breaking. I think every other name, when you got past the money, right, and that was the sticking point for a lot of these deals. Gerald Chapman, who they went after at Florida. I told you, Chapman had a buyout north of $300,000. LSU wasn't interested in paying that buyout. In the revenue share era, you're pinching pennies. You're being very mindful of being fiscally responsible. Al Davis from Missouri was the targeted candidate on Monday. They couldn't reach a deal. I'm thinking through the other names but when you get past that, when we start looking at guys like Brandon Dedrick, Pat Hill, not Pat Hill, coach of Fresno, Pat Hill, who was an analyst at LSU in 2022. You're talking about guys that don't have a giant wealth of experience. So if that's the pool you're fishing in, and then you got a guy like Kyle Williams, who's going to be more affordable, love LSU, probably bring stability to the position, tons of credibility. There's a lot of things there that make sense. And, of course, ties to Louisiana and North Louisiana. So we'll talk much more about it as we get more reaction. But again, Wilson was the first to report that they had zeroed in on Kyle Williams. Matt Zanet's reporting it's official. Kyle Williams will be the LSU defensive line coach. We'll have much more on that as we move along. Hey, we're brought to you by Evamore, EVAMOR, Evamore.com. Drink Evamore. Of course, a better form of hydration. I always have my Evamore with me. I would encourage you. Look, you can buy the 4-pack of the 64-ounce bottles. Carry one with you. Drink it all day. Drink 2 a day. Be awesome. Evamore. Of course, you can buy online in bulk, EVAMOR, at the website, EVAMOR, Evamore.com, or find a store near you, Evamore, available at great local retailers. There's a store locator on the website, Evamore.com. It says find a store on the drop-down. Type in your zip code, and boom, it'll pop up the stores nearest you, Evamore.com. All right, it's after further review, y'all. Let's knock out a quick break. SportsCenter will get you caught up on national headlines. Come back, talk a little Pels with Jake Madison next.
AFR.
All right, we're wrapping up hour number 1. I always love telling you about the Williamson Eye Center because it's not every day that you could do something where you will literally change your life. But giving yourself the gift of 20/20 vision, that qualifies. You know, I used to have this drawer, used to have this drawer in my bathroom where it was all of my contact lens stuff. And if you're a contact lens wearer, you know what I'm talking about. It had my travel cases, little travel contact lens cases, had my solution, both the big giant contact solution bottle and the mini travel bottles, had the little boxes that had all of my extra contacts. I wore the disposable ones. Had my glasses, so when I took my contacts out, at night you put your glasses on. Of course, the prescription was so outdated. And it took me a while to do it because I was so accustomed to doing it forever, but finally I just took that entire drawer and threw it in the trash. It's liberating, it's life-changing, and the Williamson Eye Center can make it happen.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Yankees GM Brian Cashman with details today on the team's injury news. Starter Luis Gil will be out at least 3 months with a lat strain in his right shoulder. Infielder DJ LeMahieu will be out several weeks with a left calf strain. And DH Giancarlo Stanton will have surgery on his elbows only as a last resort. Cashman still isn't sure when Stanton could be ready to play. With the moves the Chicago Bears have made so far in the offseason, ESPN's Chris Canty says more will be expected from their young quarterback.
Caleb Williams don't have no excuses. He's got the weapons. He's got a running game with DeAndre Swift. He's got 2+ receivers in Rome Odunze and DJ Moore. You've got a good tight end in Cole Kmet. You've got a rebuilt offensive line, and you've got a head coach who was the apple of everybody's eye during this hiring cycle.
Chris Canty on Unsportsmanlike. Oregon football coach Dan Lanning agrees to a new 6-year contract. His average salary will go up to almost $11 million a year.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty, coming up Friday. Legal tampering is right around the corner, so I'll tell you which players and teams I'm keeping an eye on. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Woo!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical, concierge nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Kendall Rogers in about 15 minutes. LSU center fielder Chris Stanfield next hour. If you have not heard, Kyle Williams, it is being reported, the former LSU defensive lineman, 13 years in the NFL, Kyle Williams. Wilson Alexander first report that they were making headway there. Matt Zenitz reports it's done, that Kyle Williams will be the LSU defensive line coach. Someone on the text line, forgive me, it's moving very quickly. Someone on the text line just asked me, can you reach out to Kyle and get him on the show today? I did just text Kyle asking him to confirm it. My assumption is that his phone is exploding and he's not going to reply to me. But I did just text him, so we'll see. And if not today, I'm sure there'll be a time in the near future that we can make that happen. Okay. So a lot to do. As that story continues to develop and we know more, we'll tell you more and more and more. And I'll have some more thoughts throughout the afternoon as we learn more about this. But Kyle Williams, again, being reported, is going to be LSU's defensive line coach. A lot of optimism around LSU football. Not a lot of optimism around the Pelicans. Let's be honest, they stink. And this season was derailed literally the first game when DeJounte Murray went down. We just didn't know it at the time. Jake Madison has the misfortune of trying to do a podcast every single day on this team. But Jake's awesome at his job. And I really wanted to bring him on here at this point, talk about with what is remaining in the season, we should all be cheering for, rooting for, hoping for. And the Pels are back at home tonight against Houston. Jake, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on to talk some hoops here.
Is it when you are covering a team every single day that's going through a year like this, like how much of a grind is it?
It's definitely a grind, but we've also seen years like this in the past too. That year that Anthony Davis requested a trade is kind of similar to this one, where you had like 30 games or so of just like nothing to really play for. But I think this year's a little bit better than that. You're seeing, Zion play well. You're seeing Trey Murphy growth. Like all of those things, if you look for like the silver linings, the small little things, you can find some things that are pretty interesting. And this ends up being kind of a pivotal year for New Orleans because of all of that.
All right. So they're 17-45. They're going to play Houston tonight. They've actually managed to win a few games, Jake. I mean, they had won 4 or 5 before losing to the Lakers the other night. What should we be cheering for the balance of this season?
I think there's 3 big things. And the first thing is you want them to lose. You want them to lose, and you want them to improve their draft pick potentially. This is a pretty loaded draft. There's 4, maybe 5 guys, I think, in this draft that can be difference makers, all-star level talents at the NBA level. If you add one of those guys to the core of Zion Williamson, Trey Murphy, whoever else, that's a pretty good team going forward. So losing and trying to improve the draft stock is kind of utmost importance. And while we don't want to root for losses, if you can do it where it's called like ethically tanking, where you're competitive and maybe you lose by 4 points in the final 5 minutes or something like that, where guys are playing well, that I do think is something that sometimes the basketball gods tend to reward at the end of the season, because it is a lottery. The team with the worst record is not guaranteed the top overall pick in the draft, but all 4 teams kind of in the bottom spot, the worst 4 teams in the league all pretty much have even odds for the number 1 overall pick. That's what you want to see with Cooper Flagg there for the taking. That's a guy that's going to be a difference maker at the NBA level. So first and foremost, you want them to lose, but you want them to kind of lose close and not just get blown out by 30 would be ideal. And if they're not getting blown out by 30, it probably means that Zion Williamson is playing well. This is the guy that they still plan to build around next season. Over his past 16 games since returning from that hamstring injury, he has played exceptionally well. He's playing like a top 10, top 15 level guy in the NBA right now. In under 28 minutes of action, he's averaging just about 25 points per game, almost 8 rebounds and 6 assists, while shooting over 62% from the field. He flat out looks unstoppable on offense. And in that game against the Lakers that they lost the other night, you had J.J. Redick, who knows Zion, was his teammate for a year and a half, and schemed to try and slow him down. And Zion still put up 37 points in basically playing like 30 minutes of action. That's really, really strong efficiency. This is the best version of Zion that we've seen. You want to still see him play at that high level, and he's also doing it on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that's the most telling, that maybe it's different with him right now. Usually guys, if you're putting up those type of offensive numbers, don't commit on the defensive side of the ball as much, but you're seeing Zion be like a good defender right now. You could argue he's maybe the best defender on the team that's healthy at the moment. So to see that makes you feel like there's maybe a page being turned with him. And then the final thing I think that you're really watching for is the growth of Trey Murphy III. He's been really good this season. He's going to be a starter going forward. Essentially that extension they gave him this past offseason and his level of play is what really forced their hand when it came to Brandon Ingram and trading him away. He's become more than just a three-point shooter. This is someone who's added a lot of strength, who's kind of dicing into the middle of the defense, scoring at the rim, getting fouled, going to the free throw line, but also becoming more of a facilitator. His assists per game numbers are career high for him right now. And so you're seeing him become well-rounded. And when you kind of factor that in alongside Zion, those two complement each other really well. Those are your 2 key guys, your 2 cornerstone players going forward. And those are 2 that look like it could help the Pelicans get back into playoff contention next season.
Do we is there a strong feeling yet, Jake, on what they do with Willie Green after this season?
No, I don't think there is. His media availability after the trade deadline, David Griffin, who's their lead basketball decision maker, came out and kind of gave Willie Green that vote of confidence and said, we think he's doing a good job. When you look at all the injuries that this team has had, that's the reason why their season is derailed. While I don't think coaching is helping them, injuries are the reason why they kind of are where they are with just 17 wins this season. But this covering college football, the worst thing that an athletic director can say about a college football head coach is that vote of confidence that this is the person we believe in. And it almost always seems like they end up getting fired once you hit the off season. So I still think that's going to be in play for Willie Green. I just don't think you've seen the growth enough from him. He's kind of still the same guy that we saw at the beginning of his tenure here. And coaches, you want to see growth like you do from players, and you just really haven't seen some of that from him. And despite there being an abundance of talent on the roster, even, with all the injuries, when they're healthy, like they were last season, it felt like that team underachieved a little bit. To me, that's kind of coaching, and that's something that I do think they need to make a change on in the offseason. I'm just not sure that they will.
Is there an example you got from this team and that would point to that lack of development with the young talent?
I mean, I think you look at certain players, right? Like, I think some of the development has not gone the way you want with guys like Jordan Hawkins on the team, who they took, he's a second-year player, so you don't want to kind of, throw him at just yet. But it's someone who was supposed to be a good three-point shooter, really hasn't been, and you haven't seen him add anything else to his game. But also look at Dyson Daniels, who was a role player here in New Orleans last season, was shipped to Atlanta in the trade for DeJounte Murray. And he's kind of exploded. And he came out and said, and I thought this was pretty telling about Willie Green's approach to young players. He said, in New Orleans, I was always looking over my shoulder, always scared to make a mistake because I was going to get benched. Here, they just trust me. They let me be the player that I am. And now he's leading the league in steals, deflections by a mile, and he's going to finish in the top 3 for Defensive Player of the Year. But he couldn't get on the court last year for New Orleans, even with all the injuries that they've had over these past couple of years. I'd say that kind of comes down to coaching and development. But beyond that, right, it's kind of having a cohesive offense, and that's not something that we've seen from this team. Will Green has gotten them to defend at a high level the past couple of years. The past 2 years, they had the 6th-ranked defense. It's fallen off a cliff this year, but everything's kind of fallen off a cliff this year. But you really haven't ever seen them kind of figure out Zion, Brandon Ingram, C.J. McCollum. With that level of talent, you should be a top 10, top 5 offense in the league. And that's not something that New Orleans has ever come close to doing during his time here. That, I think, is something in an offensive-driven league right now you really need to figure out. Is it going to change next year? I really don't think so.
Pels Rockets tonight at the Blender. Anything in particular? Because I'll be one of the unfortunate few, no doubt, watching this game. Anything to keep an eye on in this game tonight?
I mean, it's Zion Williamson, right? There is definitely some length on the Houston Rockets, but they've been fading a little bit recently, and you're seeing some of their guys, kind of hitting walls. So this is one of those games where, with kind of not a thin front court, but not a big front court either up there in Houston, Zion needs to dominate, right? Like against the Lakers when they were starting Jackson Hayes, who we know really well. If Zion doesn't take over this game, it's considered a disappointment. Same thing against Houston here. While they defend well as a team, they don't really have shot blockers, rim protectors. This is another game where you've got to see Zion take over. We need to see that consistently for whatever games he plays left going forward this season. That's how you're going to kind of get fans to buy back in. That makes you feel good about them building around him in the future. If he has like an off game, did he just not take it seriously? Is he not ready for it, right? Those are the type of concerns around Zion, and he needs to try and put those to bed. So it's watching him play, and especially knowing that teams are going to try and scheme him out. They're going to throw 2-3 bodies at him all the time. If he can still figure out a way to score and be effective and impact the game in a positive way, that bodes really well for what the Pelicans want to do next year.
Pels 4.5-point home dog tonight against Houston, 7 o'clock tip. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not yet. Locked On Pelicans, however you get your podcast, of course, on YouTube as well. He's on Twitter at NolaJake. Go give him a follow. He's Jake Madison. We appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time as always.
Of course. Thanks for having me on that.
Be well. Kendall Rogers will be here in about 5 minutes from right now. We're brought to you by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. If you missed big news, it looks like LSU is hiring Kyle Williams to be the new, that Kyle Williams. Most recently was coaching at his alma mater, Ruston, just recently left coaching in high school and is now apparently going to be LSU's defensive line coach. Gathering as much information and reaction to that. We'll tell you more as we have it, but it looks like Wilson Alexander, the advocate at first, Matt Zenitz confirming that it is a done deal, or reporting, I should say, that it is a done deal. Nothing confirmed from LSU yet. I did text Kyle Williams to see if he confirmed it. But again, I'm not assuming Kyle is going to be answering many texts right now. But we'll, if we can get anything further, we'll certainly pass it along to you as we move along. Okay, Kendall Rogers next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Thinking about building a pool? You got to start with Duplessis Builders. Listen, there are so many pool builders that can show you their Instagram account of beautiful pools. Seriously, there's a lot of them that build beautiful pools, resort-style pools. Gorgeous. What do the guts look like, though? Is it going to last? So you don't have to ask that question with Duplessis Builders. Derek Duplessis, mechanical engineer by trade, built his sister's pool. First year did 8, next year did 60. Boom, fastest growing pool company in the area. And he never cuts corners. So he'll tell you straight up, like, this isn't going to be a couple weeks. It's going to be a couple of months. For example, it takes 2 weeks for concrete to cure properly. So they will not move on to tiling and coping until the concrete is cured. They will not cut corners. It's DuplessisBuilders.net.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Final weekend before conference play for SEC baseball. Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, good enough to jump board with us as he does every Thursday. How are you, dude?
I'm doing well. Just ready for some conference play here in a couple weeks. I feel like the season just started, and we're already getting the nitty-gritty, so it's a fun time.
I want to ask you about LSU, but let me start with another program you know well, which is Texas A&M. I mean, preseason number 1, and, man, they're fighting it right now. What is happening there?
It's very odd. You know, I wrote about this over the weekend, but the thing that's really interesting to me is for a team that returns so many key pieces offensively, so many key pieces on the mound. I mean, honestly, they look pretty lost most of the time. They look like they're second-guessing themselves. There's not a lot of confidence in the batter's box. You know, if I'm being very honest, some of the managerial decisions late in the game have been a little puzzling. I remember we talked about this a couple weeks ago that, you know, the one kind of caveat with A&M is we don't know how Michael Early is going to coach. And so that's not to say he can't make some adjustments as he kind of learns the ropes of this thing. But I'll tell you what, learning the ropes of this thing when you're making some mistakes in the SEC typically doesn't turn out great. So on one hand, I have major concerns. On the other, they've actually pitched really well with their starting rotation. So the question is, does their offense get going? But right now, there's definitely some alarm bells in my eyes with A&M. There's no doubt.
I know you weren't in Frisco, but no doubt you saw LSU up there.
Sure.
What was your reaction to how the Tigers played over the 3 days?
I'll say this. I think the thing I like the most is that they played at least two really tough games. And you could argue. I mean, I think the third game they had well in hand, even though the score ended up being a little closer. But I think when you look at the first two games, I think we all expected them to at least take a punch from one of those two teams or both of them. And they were able to withstand it, and they played well in a pressure situation. I look back at the Kansas State play at the plate. That's a championship caliber play. I mean, if you're Jay Johnson this early in the season, you want to see your team be able to make those plays. So you look at that. You look at the way they played against Nebraska. Again, just continue boxes checked for this LSU team. And frankly, another guy for me that another box is checked is Danny Dickinson. I mean, we talked about him last week and just the transition he's made to LSU. But, it was a step up in competition over the weekend, and he continued to play at a very high level for LSU. So I'm pretty bullish on him right now. If I was being honest, I thought he would take some lumps early on, coming from a higher elevation, coming from the WAC, and he has not done that at all, man. He has been dialed in, and it's been pretty impressive.
Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball. Get him on Twitter at Kendall Rogers, D1Baseball.com. Do you know LSU's going to play one more LSU, and do you know anything about North Alabama, who they're going to play this week?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for them, if you look at those guys historically, they've had pretty good offenses. Last year they had what's his name, Garrett Fry, who's at Mississippi State now. But they've gotten off to a tough start. But if you look at for instance, over the weekend against UAB, they lost all three of those games. Two of the games, I think one was by 2 runs, the other they lost 1-0. So they've pitched well enough in some of these games to win them. But, they're off to a 3-8 start, and I would expect that to probably continue this weekend in Baton Rouge.
Well, next week we'll have a chance to preview some of the weekend series and conference play. But, at this point when you're 3 weekends into the season, A&M has got to be the surprise for their struggles. But is there something to the flip side of that, Kendall, the team that maybe is doing a little better here for the first 3 weeks than you thought?
Yeah, I think Florida, for me, is a little better than I thought. We say that as a team that was ranked in the top 15 preseason, but I think Florida is a national championship contender. I think if you look at the way that they've pitched so far this year, we'll see what the stories with Pierce Coppola, who left the game this past weekend with an injury. But, Liam Peterson certainly showed electric stuff last year, and he's gotten off to a really good start for them. I think, Tennessee has been impressive, and not in the sense that, I'm surprised they're this good, but I always think it's really difficult when you win the national championship to kind of emulate that the next year. And, man, Tony V is not letting off the gas. This dude wants a lot more. And so I've just been really impressed with their poise. Oklahoma, I think when you look at this weekend rotation, has been very impressive. And then the other team for me, Ole Miss. I think we talked about Hayden Federico, the Louisiana kid, a couple of weeks ago. And, he had a game-winning hit for them over the weekend. He continues to be a high-impact freshman. That's going to be a storyline, by the way, as we get in the SEC, is how many good freshmen are in this league right now. It's an abundance at the moment. But, Ole Miss, Hunter Elliott continues to pitch at a very high level. They're getting clutch hits. They weren't getting any clutch hits last year. They've had balance both on the mound and at the plate. Ole Miss would be a little bit of a surprise to me, just how good they've been. And then, probably, Auburn and Alabama. I think both those teams are kind of fringe top 25 teams. Both have gotten off to a really good start. Keep an eye on Justin LeBron. I think we all know how talented he is. But, he's already at 9 home runs for the season. Just an incredible start for the talented shortstop there at Bama.
Man, speaking of the homers, what in the world has gotten into Paxton Kling up at Penn State?
A great question. I would say this about Paxton. The first fall that I saw him at LSU, I was like, man, I love this guy. Like, it was like really hard contact. He was, very advanced approach in the box. Obviously, things didn't kind of pan out for him at LSU, but I think we all, at times at least, saw some flashes. I don't know if I saw this kind of power production coming out of that frame, but I think a lot of it, if you look at like where some of these outrageous numbers are in terms of scores, a lot of it's kind of in that mid-Atlantic range. And what I wonder is, obviously, he's playing well, but I think there's some weather elements to it as well. I think it was the other day, I want to say William and Mary was playing somebody. They scored 23 runs in an inning, and I want to say the wind was blowing out at like 30 miles per hour. So you have to be a little careful with some surprising home run numbers this time of year because, you get a frontal system roll through, and all of a sudden, wind's blowing out at 30 straight out of the ballpark at some of these places.
Kendall, I was looking at Twitter, and there's this video of Paxton Kling hitting a grand slam. It's a cell phone camera video from field level with probably 50 people in the stands. This is a dramatically different reality for that guy than what he had at LSU.
I can't imagine. Think of how easy this feels to him. He went from batting in the box, literally, to playing in front of 50 people. Like, if you're Paxton Kling, you are playing with house money right now, playing in front of a stress-free environment, and clearly that's paying off for him.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone.
It's like he's going to you go to the yard every day knowing your name is going to be on the lineup card, and you have no pressure. It probably feels a lot like the minor leagues, I would assume, for him right now. You can just go play baseball and not worry about everything else.
If he gets even close to playing to his ability, he's probably hitting 300 with double-digit home runs in that conference.
Kendall Rogers.
That's a pretty good year.
Yeah, no, dude, it's insane, man. Before you go, because they'll kill me if I don't ask, the stream stuff last week, was it just LSU fans came and overwhelmed it?
Yeah, I'm glad you actually brought that up. No, in all seriousness, I'm glad you did bring that up. Yeah, so it was one of those really weird things, and I'll try to keep this very short. It's one of those weird things where, so we went to our server company last year, and we said, hey, we need to be prepared for, 50, 60, 70,000 people at once. And the company we were with said, we're good to go. We've tested it, blah, blah, blah. I said, I don't think you understand. Like, when LSU plays, literally everyone will show up at once. And so everything is running smoothly Friday morning. We get to first pitch on Friday, and boom, we're down for 3 innings. Thankfully, they got it up quickly. However, let's just say we had some discussions over the weekend, and we were putting a lot of things into place moving forward. I understand people were upset. I was probably more pissed than anybody while trying to explain this thing out. We are actually meeting tomorrow with a company. I'm not going to mention their name, but we're meeting with a company tomorrow that hosts streams for about, 2,000 to 3,000 sporting events a year that have a heck of a lot more than what we're trying to stream. So we are going to fix this issue. At the end of the day, the buck stops here, and I was pretty disappointed. It's not going to happen again.
Well, you know what I'll say? Well, first of all, and I respect that. Netflix had issues with the Tyson fight.
I don't like to make any excuses.
No, I get it. But the thing I'll say also is, and this is what I said on air Friday as well. I respect tremendously D1 because you guys collectively have done so much to grow college baseball, right? That before D1, there was no central thing committed to giving great college baseball coverage. So that's great. Did Friday suck? Yeah. But at the same time,
for sure,
you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
No, absolutely. And we'll make it right. But, at the end of the day, here is what actually made me really happy about the way this all ended. Was I think it was like Friday. I think it was like the 8th inning of the LSU game. Everything kind of died down. I didn't get a call from, and I'm not going to mention her last name, but I got a call from a lady in Slidell who was. I think she told me she was 88. She goes, honey. She's like, honey, I'm just trying to watch my Tigers, and I can't figure out how to stream. And so I literally walked her through, and I'll send you the picture in a minute. But I literally walked her through how to stream the game. So good. About 2 minutes later, her daughter sends me a picture of her sitting there watching LSU play. So it just, it's weird for me in some sense to be doing all this different stuff. But, like, that right there actually kind of made my weekend, that she was that happy to watch LSU play. And it's just a different fan base, dude. Like, people love LSU baseball. They are passionate about everything LSU baseball, and it's awesome.
I know, man. Kendall, I always try to explain this to people, that this like radio media market is truly unique in the literal sense of the word. Like, there's a lot of markets where you have pro and college blend, like Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
You have Georgia close by, and then you have all the Atlanta teams. Like here, you have New Orleans, you have LSU, but there is nowhere else, anywhere. Kendall, you know this. Like, there is nowhere else where I could sit here on a Thursday and talk about a midweek pitching change against North Dakota State, and people care. It's just
we had I was talking to our marketing guy, and he lives in North Carolina. He went to the University of Maine. He has no idea like how crazy LSU fans are, in a good way, obviously. And I told him, I said, hey, just in preparation for the weekend, like, it's a little different, man. Like, it's not like you're dealing with Texas Tech fans. And he just kind of took me for granted. By the end of the weekend, he goes, dude, I totally get it now.
What were the numbers? Can you share, like, what were the numbers, the stream numbers?
It was well over, like, 10,000.
That's, and relatively speaking, that's a big number. I don't know.
That's a big number. Yeah, for like paid streaming, that's a big number.
Cool. Well, we always appreciate the time. Y'all all do great work, you know that, and we'll look forward to doing this each week throughout the season. Next week we'll be talking about conference ball, man. It's here. It's an exciting time.
You got it, brother. Appreciate you.
All right,
Thank you.
That's Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball. Appreciate the explanation. All right, it's After Further Review. Again, we keep reminding you, if you're just joining us, the big news of the day, former LSU Tiger Kyle Williams has been hired as the new LSU defensive line coach. We told you on Monday a list of names that LSU had been in touch with. Just found out that Kyle was in Baton Rouge yesterday on Wednesday. So Kyle was in Baton Rouge on Wednesday, interviewed, and then they offered him the job today. So clearly they were going through the process of not being able to work out deals with people they wanted, or not loving the interview process, and they interviewed Kyle on Wednesday, and he took the job today. So much more reaction to that as we move throughout the day. Our Thursday shows are brought to you by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, I love getting to tell you every day about Glow Resources for a lot of reasons. Glow Resources, first and foremost, local company that helps businesses all over. I love getting to tell that story because at Glow Resources, they like to say we're complete employer solutions. They help you, the business owner, find the right people to make your business the most efficient. It doesn't matter if it's skilled blue-collar workers. It doesn't matter if it is their professional placement division for any type of office job, even C-level management. They can help you find the people to make your business the best, most efficient version that it can be. But the other thing, too, is they're so much fun to work with. Like, you walk into their office, have a phone call with Jareth, with Casey, with anybody. Like, you'll get it, like, immediately. You see it in their commercials because they're a lot of fun, and they like to have fun in those. And their social media posts, they like to have a lot of fun. Even to the decor of the office, when you walk in, you'll get it. They got a great vibe, and they're fun to work with, which is the reason a lot of people love to do business with Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you. Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
At the top of hour 3, I had on the rundown to go through my top spring storylines. Instead, I'll probably use that segment and just give you a full take on the Kyle Williams hire. If you, again, I know it's being repetitive for a lot of you who might be watching or listening live here for the whole show. Radio, people are in and out of their car constantly. Kyle Williams, former LSU defensive tackle Kyle Williams, 13 years with the Buffalo Bills, was most recently the defensive coordinator at Ruston High. Apparently has been hired as the new LSU defensive line coach. Wilson Alexander reported it was trending that way. Matt Zenitz has reported that the deal is official. Nothing yet from LSU. I did text Kyle earlier. He's not yet replied. I'm in no way surprised by that. I'm sure he's being bombarded. But apparently LSU interviewed Kyle Williams yesterday on Wednesday in Baton Rouge, and they offered him the job, and he took it today. So as we know more, we'll talk about it, kind of get my thoughts together, and I'll give you a full extensive take on that here at the top of hour number 3 and about 23 minutes from right now. The with spring practice about to start on Saturday for LSU, and a lot of spring practice beginning around not only the league but around the country, we're starting to look at a lot of the projections toward the 2025 college football season. And I know we often talk here about the SP Plus rankings. We had Bill Connolly on the show to talk about them. Well, a component of that is strength of schedule. And Bill Connolly did release his SP Plus strength of schedule ratings on here this week. And the thing that's going to be somewhat jarring is that all 16 of the SEC teams are in the top 25 in the SP Plus strength of schedule rankings, which is pretty remarkable to see it that way. I believe Wisconsin maybe is number 4, and it's the only non-SEC team in the top top 13. It's a staggering number to see that. I'm looking at we had this up at Louisiana Sports on Net. I'm looking at the SEC teams and where they rank. So a couple of observations here. Earlier this week, Jake Crane from Crane & Company was with us, and he pegged Oklahoma as his sort of surprise team. Of course, they brought in John Mateer at quarterback from Washington State, arguably the best transfer quarterback in the country. I am still very skeptical. They brought in Ben Arbuckle to be their OC from Washington State. Brent Venables is going to call defensive plays. He was asked why. He said, because I'm good at it. Okay. But Oklahoma is a team that went 500 last year. Really struggled on offense. Look, they're working to fix it, right? You brought in Ben Arbuckle. You got a new OC. You got a new quarterback. But even if you're better, it might be a thing where the record may not show it. Because Oklahoma, again, has the number one toughest strength of schedule in the country for next season. And we always talk about it here. If you listen every day or watch every day, you've heard me say it. It's not just about who you play, but when and where you play them. When I look at a preseason projection, it is fewest questions against most manageable schedule. Oklahoma is going to play Michigan in the non-conference. For some reason, they're going to play at Temple. Now, Temple's not any good, but that's still a road non-conference game against a G5. They've got Auburn, Texas, at South Carolina, Ole Miss, then back-to-back at Tennessee, at Alabama, before they're home against Missouri and LSU to finish out the schedule. Like, you could see a world where Michigan at South Carolina, Ole Miss at Tennessee, at Bama, LSU, those 6 games right there are all games they could lose. You could throw Missouri in there for good measure as well, though the game is in Norman. I mean, what if you go 3-4 in those games? Your high watermark 8-4, they happen about that in Norman? It's better than 6-6, but is that what their expectations are with Brent Venables and with that program? No. Also, when you look at the rest of the SEC, the bottom in the strength of schedule, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Missouri. Remember, you're playing your same conference opponents from a year ago, just flipped home and away. So it's the same identical schedule from a year ago as far as opponents in league. You're just flipping home and away. So last year, a lot of people picked or were high on Ole Miss and Missouri and Tennessee and Texas because the schedules were easier. One of the jokes we made about Texas is like someone at the league office gave him a piece of paper and was like, here, who would you like to play? Well, so this year for Tennessee and Missouri and Ole Miss, it's the same. It's just inverted home and away. But Ole Miss 23rd nationally, Tennessee 24th, Missouri 25th nationally on strength of schedule. The interesting thing is that for Texas this year, their strength of schedule is 12th in the country. And the big difference for Texas is they draw Ohio State in Columbus in the non-conference. And they've got to go to Florida, which looks better. And they got to go to Georgia, which is, of course, going to be tough after Georgia won in Austin last year. So, look, there's some breathers. They still get at Kentucky, at Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, and Arkansas. And those are 4 games that Texas should roll out of bed and roll. But adding Ohio State in the non-conference on the road is a giant challenge there that certainly alters their win-loss projection at Texas this year. And remember, if you're looking at 10-2 being your baseline to get in, you open up at Ohio. Similar thing with LSU. You open up, if you're Texas, you open at Ohio State and you lose that game, hypothetically, I mean, you got one more game to play with the rest of the way. And you still got to go to Georgia. So if you assume a loss at Ohio State at Georgia, you got to be flawless the rest of the way. You can't have a hiccup at Florida. You can't lose the Red River rivalry. You can't throw up on yourself at Kentucky or Mississippi State. You got to play well at home against Vanderbilt. You get A&M at home. Like you gotta there's no margin for error if you're Texas trying to get in the playoff and you lose to Ohio State and at Georgia. So just something that jumps off the page when you're looking at these strength of schedule rankings. And then I always look at the hot seat coaches. It's one of the things we do every year when we go to SEC Media Days. I'm always curious who's there for the last time. Now, this year, no SEC coaches were fired or left. There was no turnover. All 16 coaches from the league in 2024 are back in 2025. But Sam Pittman, Arkansas has got the number 3 strength of schedule in the country. Mark Stoops at Kentucky, number 8 strength of schedule in the country. Kalen DeBose, I know they went 9-3, lost the bowl game 9-4, but you're already starting to hear those conversations. What if they follow up 9-3 with 8-4? The number 11 strength of schedule in the country. Hugh Freeze at Auburn, 2 very underwhelming years where you haven't seen the progress that many thought you would a year ago. I certainly was in that number. I thought Auburn was a sneaky sleeper team in the SEC, and they just didn't figure it out offensively. While Auburn is 15th in strength of schedule, there's only 3 teams in the league that have an easier schedule than Auburn. It's all relative. It's still the 15th toughest schedule in the entire country. Can they get it right? Of course, you bring Jackson Arnold over from Oklahoma to Auburn. Can Hugh Freeze figure that out? Just a few things that were my observations. For what it's worth, LSU 9th in strength of schedule in the country. OU, Florida, Arkansas, Vandy, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Kentucky all have a tougher strength of schedule than LSU at 9, so LSU at 8, smack dab in the middle of the SEC rankings as far as strength of schedule. So a few things from Bill Conley's SP Plus rankings on strength of schedule, which are coming out. Tigers at the practice field for the first time in spring on Saturday. And we would all presume that Kyle Williams will be out there with LSU as their new defensive line coach. Okay, we're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. That's SouthPointVW.com. If you're in the market for a vehicle, put Volkswagen on your list. One of the safest vehicles on the road. I usually lead with that because that's what matters most. You get behind the wheel of your car. If you are buying a vehicle for your high school or college graduate, maybe the first vehicle for your high school student, put Volkswagen on your list. They're going to want something that's stylish and fun to drive. You're going to want something that's safe and affordable. That's Volkswagen. And oh, by the way, they're manufactured right in the USA at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. Go to SouthPointVW.com, SouthPointVW.com. Shop online, work out your financing online, and then go test drive one. Airline just north of Highland. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? All right, y'all, it is after further review. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros when we come back here. If you want to get involved, you can. Email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. LSU center fielder Chris Stanfield in 45 minutes. He'll be joining us. He's got a really cool thing he's doing with a Miracle League. If you're not familiar, Miracle League is it's a baseball league for special needs children. And Chris Stanfield's doing a really cool collaboration with them. Candidly, my son Drew's played Miracle League for 4 or 5 years now, and it's such an awesome organization. The LSU baseball program, a lot of LSU programs have really been involved in supporting Miracle League over the years, and Chris Stanfield's doing a cool thing. So we'll talk about his first month as a Tiger, and we'll talk about Miracle League and all that stuff again. That's coming up here in about 45 minutes from right now. All right, Muse will do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number 2, presented by Decision Critical next.
After further review.
You know, another organization that's supported Miracle League for a lot of years is Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You go to the field, you'll see a Gordon McKernan sign, a sponsorship sign there on the outfield wall. Just another way that Gordon has given back to so many charitable endeavors in our communities over the last 30 years. Tell you all the time, listen, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. But the other thing that I can tell you definitively, like a lot of people have seen the billboards and the TV commercials, and you're very familiar with Gordon because he's a marketing machine, social media, everything. When you get to know the man, you understand the sincerity, and I believe that in Gordon. He's a genuinely good man who loves this community that has given him and his family so much, and he wants to give back. It's why it's rarely you're at it. Look, later this month, I'll be emceeing the Down Syndrome Awareness Group Buddy Walk. Gordon always has a tent as a sponsorship for a sponsorship for the Buddy Walk every year. Great people, great community partners. Get Gordon and get it done.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, Our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Wrapping up hour number 2. Always appreciate our friends over at Decision Critical. You know, I've told you my story for years. Blasia, who's the founder, owner, CEO at Decision Critical. She was a CV nurse whenever we brought Drew home from the hospital, and she helped care for him. Like, I trust my child with Blasia. I couldn't give you a higher endorsement than that. It's not just healthcare. It's healthcare for your lifestyle. Their nurses will come into your home for whatever care you may need. Bringing home a newborn, end-of-life care. Maybe you're a parent now caring for or helping care for your elderly parents who are with you. So many different post-op after surgery. So many different ways our friends at Decision Critical and their excellent trained staff of concierge nurses can help. Schedule that discovery call, decisioncriticalbr.com. Okay, wrapping up hour number 2. Muso Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, we'll start spring training. Trey Morgan with the Tampa Bay Rays. He was 0 for 2 today, but he did draw 3 walks, came around to score. Really mainly bring up Trey Morgan because we were talking the other day about Raisman potentially getting a call-up.
Yeah.
Trey Morgan is really the one to watch here. He's been absolutely awesome so far in minor league baseball, and this could be the year for him. It's also weird ESPN has his real name on there, John. That's why I couldn't find him a few weeks ago, because it's John Morgan and not Trey. Aaron Nola.
That's not good. They should fix that.
They should. Aaron Nola was who he was facing. So he got his first taste facing Aaron Nola. Nola, 3 innings, shutout, 1 walk, 6 Ks for the Phillies. Mid-season form there for Aaron Nola. Dylan Cruz, 1 out of 2 today for the Nats. Scored a run, also walked a couple times. It's going to be fantastic to see him get a full Major League season under his belt, provided he stays healthy. Speaking of staying healthy, well, that's where we come to DJ LeMahieu. Nope. I get it, though. You get rolling. You get rolling, and it just...
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, it is. There are. There's going to be a few more, too. DJ just made his spring debut. Of course, he dealt with injuries for the bulk of last season. In that debut, tweaked a calf muscle, had an MRI, told the New York media himself this morning, grade 1 or 2 strain, no baseball activity for at least a couple of weeks. He's likely out for opening day. They will wait to officially announce a timeline there for DJ. Second half of a back-to-back for Naz Reid and the Timberwolves.
Should have
stayed. Another double-double for Naz, 13 and 12. 10 of the rebounds were on the defensive end, plus 20. Been great to see him get that starting opportunity and really, really succeed. And on the PGA Tour, it's Arnold Palmer Invitational Week over at Bay Hill. Sam Burns in the field. Really rough one for our guy today. 4 over par, included a snowman on the 6th. That's tough. The pros, they do it too. Would end up having another double bogey and 2 more double bogeys on his round for 4 over 76. But hey, Tomorrow's a new day. That's Tigers in the Pros.
It's our day. Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. Locations all over South Louisiana. Like a lot of people matriculating back home. Mardi Gras week, you get out of town. I think half of Baton Rouge, either in Disney or skiing. If that's you, you're getting back. You need work done on your car, tires, Shawbills. They're the best. They'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. They treat you like family, so you keep coming back year after year. It's worked for like 57 years now. I'd say they keep going. Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. I did get a text into the show. Text line from Patrick McKenzie. He said, do you think Brian Kelly will have a press conference before spring starts, maybe to announce Kai Williams? No, he will not. Actually, I have the media availability for spring practice right here in front of my face. First practice is Saturday. No media availability. Our first access will be on Wednesday, the 12th. We get to watch 20 minutes, and then Brian Kelly will meet with – and then BK meets reporters on Wednesday. So we get to watch 20 minutes of practice, and then after practice, we get BK. So on Wednesday is the first time we'll talk to Kelly, and then on Saturday the 15th, we'll talk to Kelly as well. So 1, 2 I'm trying to see how many. 3. Looks like 3. Anyway, no, we don't get to talk to Kelly until next Wednesday.
After further review.
Hey, we're brought to you by Supper Club. Tomorrow is Friday in Lent. Remember, first Friday in Lent. So a lot of people, South Louisiana, heavily Catholic area, abstaining from meat. I got an option for you. Supper Club. Matt, Supper Club's all the steaks and the Wagyu and the Japanese stuff that you talk about and the thing that you can only get at like 2 restaurants. Yep, they are that. But literally everything they have at Supper Club is the best of the best. They got Chilean sea bass at Supper Club. They've got a salmon entree at Supper Club. Incredible. They've got oysters at Supper Club. They have Alaskan king crab at Supper Club that they literally get it sourced from the ships, the boats, from the Deadliest Catch. Like, those are the Alaskan king crab from the ship, from the show, that are at Supper Club. So, you want seafood? You want Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com. Get your reservation today. SupperClubBTR.com.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Yankees right-hander Luis Gil will be out at least 3 months with a lat strain in his right shoulder. Infielder DJ LeMahieu will be out several weeks with a left calf strain. The Lakers host the Knicks tonight. The Lakers have won 7 straight, and ESPN's Quentin Richardson is not surprised by the success of first-year head coach J.J. Redick.
I truly believed that he was going to be a good coach because he worked so hard at it. I've never not seen him work his butt off at anything. And he knows the basketball game inside out. One of the smartest IQ players I ever played with and things like that. And his attention to detail is second to none. So I felt like he was going to do well.
Quentin Richardson on game night. Mavericks assistant coach Alex Jensen is now the new head coach at the University of Utah, his alma mater. Jensen was the Mountain West Player of the Year in 2000 and played on 4 NCAA tournament teams. Arfield Yates reports the Browns will again restructure quarterback Deshaun Watson's contract. This time it'll create almost $36 million in cap space. Watson has 2 years to go on a 5-year deal.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Commercial Insurance. It flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Oh!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. LSU center fielder Chris Stanfield in 28 minutes from right now. We're looking forward to that conversation. Also, post-combine, there is a quarterback that the Saints have met with. That report has come out, and I think it would be awesome if they draft him. I'm going to get that in 15 minutes. Big news today, the LSU Tigers reportedly have their defensive line coach. Wilson Alexander was the first to report the interest. Matt Zenitz is reporting it is a done deal. Nothing as of right now, 5:03 here on this Thursday, March 6th. Nothing official from LSU, but everyone reporting that this is done, that Kyle Williams, the former LSU All-American defensive lineman, Kyle Williams, is going to be named the LSU defensive line coach. So, I got a lot to say about this. It is, first of all, a very surprising hire. I don't know that there's any other way to say it, because this happened apparently very quickly. As I understand it, Kyle was in Baton Rouge to interview on Wednesday. They offered him the job, and now he's accepted it here on Thursday. So this was a very fast turnaround from where they started. I mean, follow the path here and the coaches that we know that LSU talked to, interviewed, were in discussions with about this job. Start with Gerald Chapman. Remember, Gerald Chapman was on staff at LSU as an analyst. We kind of went through the whole thing over the weekend. Bruce Feldman reported that LSU was interested in Chapman, but that Chapman elected to stay at Florida. As I understand it, money became a sticking point there. Chapman was making just under $600K, but had a buyout north of $300,000 at Florida. And relative to what we talk about with head coaching buyouts, that might seem minuscule, but in a revenue share era, $300,000 to pay a buyout for a defensive line coach matters. And so they couldn't come to terms on that. That was part of it. So Chapman stays at Florida. On Monday, if you weren't here, and a lot of people were at Lundy Gras, whatever the case may be, we told you that Al Davis, the Missouri defensive line coach, had emerged as someone that, by all accounts, they thought they were going to get that done. But the thing we say every time with coaching hires, it's never done until it is done. Ink is dry, press release is out. Even then, sometimes it's not done. The Al Davis situation, which on Monday, it felt like that was going to happen. It went awry. Was it money? Don't know. But ultimately, that didn't come to fruition. Told you the other names that LSU had spoken with. Randall Joyner from Ole Miss. $725K a year at Ole Miss. With a big buyout, it was going to take north of $1 million. LSU didn't have the temperament to go that direction for a defensive line coach. They were willing to do it for Bo Davis because Bo is an LSU guy. He had so many supporters from Scott Woodward and Verge Osbury and Frank Wilson and people who've been around this program for a long time. And then fans and boosters, they were able to make it happen to get Bo here because that was supposed to solve your defensive line problem and give you stability and the best technical defensive line coach in the game. After 1 year, he's gone. The others that LSU talked to, Patrick Hill, who was an analyst at LSU in 2022, spent the past couple seasons as an assistant defensive line coach of the Vikings. Brandon Dedrick, young guy, played in the NFL, spent the last 2 years as an analyst at Ole Miss, just got hired as the defensive line coach at Southern Miss. South Carolina defensive line coach Travian Robertson. I guess my point is, all of those names would have been very underwhelming. So I almost look at it to say you're balancing if you're not going to go spend to make the big splash hire, which is okay, by the way. I think, honestly, that's one of the pieces of feedback I get from a lot of fans sometimes is sometimes Scott Woodward spends too much to go too in for the big splash hire. I don't think that's a bad thing, personally, but if you're not going to do that, then you're weighing hires that maybe aren't going to be the big splash and what does matter. So if I look at this and I go, would you rather someone like Patrick Hill, who played in the NFL, was at LSU as an analyst for 1 year in the last 2 years as an assistant defensive line coach with the Vikings, or a former All-American who played at LSU, who's from Louisiana, from Ruston, was on the 2003 National Championship team, played 13 years in the NFL. And oh, by the way, financially, you can make this work as well for Kyle Williams, a guy who in his career, Kyle Williams' career earnings in the NFL is $57.2 million. I don't think Kyle's going to rake you over the coals here for the difference between $500K, $600K. I don't know what the number is. I have no idea what the number is. My point is, I don't think you're approaching 1-2. You know what I mean? So it is surprising. It's surprising that you're hiring a guy that has no college coaching experience. And it's also surprising because Kyle Williams, who had been the DC at Ruston, his alma mater, since 2020. Look, we've had Kyle on the show. You know, he finished his 13-year NFL career, went back to Ruston, guy plays golf every day. He's a great golfer, by the way. He said before, like, he would be a professional golfer. Like, he would, if he didn't play football, he would try to be a professional golfer. So coaching at his alma mater as an assistant, playing golf every day. You know, he's got his daughters, I think, are like really good soccer players. So as I understand it, one of the reasons that he left coaching with Ruston after this season, they played in the Dome, they lost to Central in the state championship game. One of the reasons that he left was, I think, as I understand it, again, I haven't spoken to Kyle, but again, so I have this secondhand, was maybe wanting to step away from coaching to be able to watch his daughters play, travel, play more golf, all that stuff. this is a big role to take on, right? I guess maybe it's a different thing when your alma mater comes calling and it's the LSU defensive line job. It's also interesting because Kyle has never recruited. Like, that is part of it. Now, I also think that one of the reasons this makes sense is because recruiting has probably never mattered less. So I'm not trying to be contradictory, but as we think of like one of the big selling points of Bo Davis, great recruiter, right? Not only the best technical defensive line coach, but a great recruiter. Well, as we've seen, like, Jakeem Stewart got out of the state. Why? Because USC gave him $2 million a year. So how, like, you can be the greatest recruiter. Look at the Bryce Underwood situation. We all know, I mean, you could do an awesome job recruiting, but if someone comes in, drops a bag on somebody, all your recruiting work is for naught. So maybe because NIL matters more than recruiting in so many instances, we need to de-emphasize what we think about recruiting as far as an asset, as you're putting the ledger of pros and cons for a hire. I do think, in theory, this should provide stability. A guy that from Louisiana, played at LSU, loves LSU. I mean, I also don't know, again, haven't had this conversation with Kyle Williams, but I don't know what his coaching ambitions are. Does he want to try to be a college head coach or an NFL coach? What? Maybe. But here recently, he's a guy that for the last 4 or 5 years has been coaching at his alma mater, playing a lot of golf, which is a good gig, man. It's awesome. It's great life. Congrats. You've earned it. 13 years in the NFL, made $57.2 million his career earnings. Actual number here, according to the SpoTrack, Kyle Williams' career earnings, $57.228 million for Kyle Williams. Like, awesome. That's a big old number. You can live comfortably the rest of your life for that. So do you want to jump into the NIL game, all that sort of stuff? That's a question Kyle Williams will have to answer. I'm sure we'll answer eventually. But I will say this. If you're looking at a technical defensive line coach, someone who will come here and coach your defensive linemen, technically, few better, man. All-American, 13 years in the NFL, Pro Bowler. Dude has the skins on the wall, man, and that is undeniable. He walks into a room, all those dudes listen because he has been where they want to go, every one of them. And that's pretty stinking cool. We had Ahmad Bro on AFR. Remember, Ahmad Bro just finished his freshman season at LSU. Ahmad Bro played for Kyle Williams at Ruston. Now, he's a defensive end, came here, and they put weight on him. Remember, he had the funny line about what his Whataburger order was and all that stuff. They put weight on him, converted him to defensive tackle. Well, he was coached by Kyle Williams at Ruston. This is what Ahmad Bro said on AFR about Kyle Williams.
And Coach Kyle, he's taught me more about being a man than anything. Bringing high energy to whatever you do, especially on the field, and ultimately not giving in to what your body wants to do, which is to quit when things get hard. And I really developed that since I've been stepped on foot on the campus with him.
Great perspective, man. From a guy in Ahmad Bro who's from Louisiana, played at Ruston for Kyle Williams, now will play for Kyle Williams at LSU. Kyle Williams, LSU's defensive line coach. Again, if you're just joining us, came together quickly. Apparently, Kyle was in Baton Rouge on Wednesday to interview. They offered him the job, and he accepted it here on Thursday. And Kyle Williams will be the LSU defensive line coach. And Tigers hit the practice field Saturday. For the first time, we all presume Kyle will be out there. All right. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, with more than 30 offices across 13 different states. Love saying it all the time. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, rents the products used to weigh and measure. They're always all over the country, different trade shows and everything going on. I just saw this. The C&D World Conference and Exhibition is coming up. That's the construction and demolition, of course. March 11th to 13th at the Renaissance in Dallas, Addison. They'll be there. Michelli will be there. Booth number 8. So if you're in Dallas, you're going to be at the C&D World Conference and Exhibition, look for the Michelli table. You can always shop them online, or you always check them out online to see a list of their services. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Michelli. At Michelli, we show the world what measurement can do. Okay, it's after further review. If you want to react to the Kyle Williams news, you can. Email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400. You can jump in the Bayou Forward YouTube chat on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Thanks for being there as well. We'll knock out a quick break. Come back. The Saints are meeting, reportedly, with another quarterback before this draft, and I think this would be an amazing get if they land him. I'll tell you who next on AFR.
AFR.
Okay, y'all, we're bumping up on turnaround season. You're in the petrochemical refinery markets there at the plants. You're going to be sending out those bids for your turnaround jobs. Remember the Advanced Turnaround Group at Action Industries. The Advanced Turnaround Group at Action Industries. This is a totally separate pool of resources. Everyone knows Action Industries as an amazing industrial contractor. This is a different pool of resources. And with the Advanced Turnaround Group, they have 24-hour availability for emergencies. They offer specialty welding. Of course, you're going to get personal attention. That's just a core of what they do at Action Industries. Would be no different with the Advanced Turnaround Group. And you get people whose entire careers are centered around turnaround work. It's the Advanced Turnaround Group at Action Industries. Learn more at actionindinc.com, Action Industries Incorporated. Ask about the Advanced Turnaround Group.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
LSU outfielder Chris Stanfield in 11 minutes from right now. Looking forward to that conversation. With the draft over, Mel Kiper has, with the combine over, Mel Kiper has updated his big board. There's some things that obviously we're going to be keeping an eye on here. Kyle Williams, bro, I got to get my head straight. Not Kyle Williams. Been talking a lot about Kyle Williams today. Will Campbell would certainly be someone we're keeping an eye on. For what it's worth, Kiper dropped Will Campbell from 10 to 13 on his big board. There are some people who are going to look at the arm length thing and ding Campbell for it. The question is, which team is going to look at that and go, yeah, he's awesome, I'm going to take him. It just takes one, and someone will, and he'll go high, and he'll make a lot of money. Part of the big board, though, is Kiper ranks the top 25 players overall, but then he does a top 10 ranking at every position. And at quarterback, he's got Shadur, number 1, followed by Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, Kyle McCord, Tyler Shaw, Jalen Milroe, Dylan Gabriel, Will Howard, Quinn Ewers, and then at 10, he's got Riley Leonard and Curtis Rourke tied. There's a quarterback on that list that just got a report that the Saints have met with. According to CBS Sports, the New Orleans Saints have recently met with Quinn Ewers. And I would be head over heels pumped if the New Orleans Saints draft Quinn Ewers. Now, hold on. Hear me out, please, because I know a lot of you don't like Quinn Ewers. He has been public-facing for a long time. He was an early enrollee at Ohio State. He's acknowledged it was a cash grab. He got 7 figures to reclassify, enroll early, went to Ohio State for a year, then went home to Texas. He played the game brilliantly. Good on you, kid. He had the mullet, a lot of the personality things some people didn't seem to like. I can look past all that. I can look past an 18, 19-year-old expressing himself. You know what I love about Quinn Ewers? Dude's tough as hell and he wins. Oh, and he's got really good physical attributes as well. So, y'all know where I feel, first of all, on the Saints and the quarterback situation. Y'all know how I feel about Derek Carr, okay? But I just got to accept that's what it's going to be and then start talking and framing this conversation around what it's going to be because that's what it is. They're going to restructure Carr. He's going to be here. I don't like it, but that's just what it is. So how do you ever get to a point where you're going to have a quarterback in the building that can win for you, that has the championship ceiling? Well, you got to draft him and keep drafting. I loved taking Haener 2 years ago. I loved taking Rattler last year in round 5. And when they took Spencer Rattler, I told you, next year take another one. And keep drafting them every year until you hit. If you're not going to go spend a first-round pick, a top 10 pick, be aggressive to go get someone at the top of the draft you think you can be your franchise, then you're going to have to keep walking up to the nickel slot, like my Grammy, putting your nickels in that nickel slot, and eventually you're going to get a jackpot. But you got to be willing to keep putting your nickels in the nickel slot. Russell Wilson was a 3rd-round pick. Dak Prescott was a 4th-round pick. Kirk Cousins was a 5th-round pick. Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick. Brock Purdy was a 7th-round pick. I'm not telling you it's common. I'm not telling you it's likely. I'm just telling you, if you want to find your franchise quarterback and you're not willing to take one at the top of the draft, you ain't going to get it in free agency because the phenomenon of getting Drew Brees off a shoulder injury, a devastating shoulder injury, when the team that drafted him cast him aside because they decided Phillip Rivers was a better option. That's a one of one in the history of the NFL. That ain't going. They tried to do it again with Jameis. Didn't work. They're trying it now with Derek Carr. Ain't working. You got to draft him. So, you got to keep drafting quarterbacks. I think if I get a sheet of paper, draw a line down the middle, put pros on one side, cons on the other with Quinn Ewers, that list of pros is going to be a hell of a lot longer than the list of cons. How about this? Number one, he's young. Remember, we told you he reclassified. Quinn Ewers just finished his redshirt junior season. 4 years in college, he's 21 years old. He'll be 22 in March next week, actually March 15th. Beware the Ides of March. First time I remember watching Quinn Ewers play and going, damn, 2022, Alabama at Texas. Remember that game? Bryce Young had the Houdini act at the end when the Texas dude had him dead to rights, ends up getting the first down, and Alabama kicked the game-winning field goal to win it 20-19. Y'all remember that? It was a September game at 11 a.m. in Austin. Do you remember Quinn Ewers' line in that game? He was 9 of 12 for 134 yards. Matt, that's not very good. That was the first quarter. And then, because Nick Saban's defenses always took cheap shots to knock guys out of the game, knock Quinn Ewers out of the game. But in the first quarter, again, and by the way, that was peak Nick Saban, Alabama. 134 yards in the first quarter. If Quinn Ewers is healthy and plays that game, they blow the doors off of Alabama that day. That was the first time I looked and went, damn. And then comes the Arch phenomenon. And Quinn Ewers handled that beautifully. Despite all the attention on Arch, being asked about it all the time, he even did the silly Dr. Pepper commercial where he talked about not needing backup. Dress up like a cop, talking about not needing backup, right? Even if he's got famous relatives. Sense of humor, handled the whole Arch thing beautifully. He's dealt with fame and money beautifully. Ain't heard about Quinn Ewers getting in trouble. And, as we learned this week, Quinn Ewers played this season with a torn oblique. What a freak show. When you got millions in your pocket, that's one thing we talk about for years. Our good buddy Mike Detillier, he was here forever, would always say, one thing you never know in the draft, how will money change the person? Will money change the person? Quinn Ewers got money. He's a millionaire at 17. Dude's out there playing with a torn oblique at Texas. Knowing he's going into the draft, already got millions in the bank. Okay. Team guy, all of it. Oh, and as far as the size, he's 6'2", 210. Good enough. Ain't Peyton Manning. He's good enough. When I look at the draft projection for Quinn Ewers, he's projected as an early day 3 pick. You going to tell me I could take a 4th or 5th round flyer on Quinn Ewers? Sign me up every day of the week and twice on Sunday. For a day 3 pick? I'm not saying use the 9th pick on Quinn Ewers. Saints ain't drafting a quarterback at 9 anyway. I think even if Shadur or Cam Ward dropped, I still don't think they would take one of those guys at 9. But you get into round 4 or 5, day 3, and you can take a flyer on a winner who's tough as hell, who's got good size, great arm, played at a big-time program with expectations, dealt with the saga of the Arch stuff. You don't have to worry, is money going to change him? Good teammate? Yes, check. What's the downside? That he wore a mullet at one point in his young life? Somebody explain to me the downside. And this year, despite missing time with that injury, threw for 3,400 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 12 picks. By the way, the 31 touchdowns led the SEC. Now, so did the 12 picks. So we can work on that. A day 3 flyer on Quinn Ewers? Hell yeah, give me Quinn Ewers. Would love to see that in New Orleans. All right, it's after further review. Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah. They do shutters as well at Relief Windows. Maybe you live in a neighborhood where your HOA requires wood windows, and the problem with that is every 5-6 years, because it's always wet and humid here, those windows rot and you got to replace them. What if you could do it once for the rest of your life? Not a punchline, it's true. It's the Geldwin wood windows from Relief Windows. Install them once, you're done forever. Wood windows with a lifetime warranty. How about that? It's Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com. Check them out online, ReliefWindows.com. Go see their showroom, Airline Highway in Prairieville. Remember, they service all Louisiana. You go west into Texas toward Houston, Beaumont area as well. East will go through the panhandle of Florida. Y'all check them out. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, excited about this, man. LSU center fielder Chris Stanfield joins us next. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Carnival's behind us, y'all. It is now Lent for a lot of us, which means Fridays, which means seafood if you're abstaining from meat. Boy, Rouse's has got you covered, man. Have you seen the seafood feast that they have available over at Rouse's? It's the Seafood Spectacular Hot Bar Menu. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday during Lent, it's $9.99 a pound. Y'all, this is an insane offer. They got white beans and rice, fried fish, shrimp alfredo, shrimp jambalaya, crawfish cornbread, shrimp creole and etouffee, hush puppies, onion rings or fries, fried Cajun shrimp, crab stuffing, deviled stuffed crabs, corn on the cob, crawfish Riley pasta, creole shrimp pasta, baked fish. Y'all, load up your plate, $9.99 a pound. Choose your weapon. Oh, it's the hot bar. It's only at Rouse's. Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
All right, rolling along here. Thursday edition of AFR presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. And glad to welcome aboard LSU center fielder Chris Stanfield. Jumping aboard. He's about a month into his LSU career, doing some really cool stuff with the Miracle League of Baton Rouge as well that we're going to talk about. Chris, we appreciate the time, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Matt. I'm really appreciative.
It's our pleasure, man. Thanks for the time, especially y'all got a day off today, I would guess?
Oh, we just had practice at 1:30. It was pretty light, getting ready for this weekend.
Yeah, man. It's interesting because, busy with the 2 midweek games and, 5-game week and, what type of workload y'all have. I want to start, though, Chris, by asking sort of like expectation versus reality. You're in the SEC at Auburn. You see LSU from a distance. You probably had, a certain perception of what LSU was. How is the reality of playing at the box as a Tiger matched or whatever you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, no doubt. It's everything and more. I played here, so I came last year. Auburn came here to play, and at the time, neither of us were playing amazing, and it was still 9,000-10,000 people there, and it was loud. I remember I had to go to deep right center field where the student section is, and I could barely hear anything. So it was, then I already knew that it would, the atmosphere was amazing. So being on the flip side, the home side of it's, a dream come true. The Tiger fans have welcomed me, with open arms, and I'm really appreciative and happy to be here.
And you ain't even seen a conference game yet, man. Where do you see a conference game, a Friday night, a Saturday night, man? It's gonna be.
It'll be electric.
We'll have to have you back for sure to get the perception there. Hey, let me go back before we go forward a little bit too. Take me back to your recruiting and why ultimately you picked LSU.
Yeah, so going into the portal, that really wasn't an easy decision. But it felt like it was the right decision for me to take the next step in my career. So, I had a few schools that I was thinking about. I didn't have one pinpointed that I knew I wanted to go to out of the portal. I really wanted to weigh my options because out of high school, I really wanted to go to Auburn. It was close to home for me. So that was an easy decision out of high school. But, I really took my time with this. And I had a few conversations with Coach Johnson, and I considered a few other SEC schools. But ultimately, I looked at the hitters that Coach Johnson has coached and the guys who have come through, this coaching staff and LSU in particular. And I saw the development, and, I really saw myself developing here. And, it's been the best decision I could have ever made.
It's interesting, Chris, whenever there's guys from Baton Rouge who end up playing somewhere else, man, why did that guy end up at LSU? You're from Tallahassee. Why didn't you end up in Florida State?
Yeah, I did want to leave Tallahassee and play in the SEC, most importantly.
Did you grow up a Noles fan?
I did. My parents, they both went to Florida State, so I always loved going to FSU games, but I wasn't a diehard.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I was going to say, because LSU played Florida State football the last couple of years. That didn't go super great. Did you get to make an LSU football game or football games this fall?
I did this fall. They were a lot of fun. Nothing's it's like a NFL stadium with 100,000.
Did you rush the field at the Ole Miss game?
I didn't. I left early that game.
Why? Where did you go?
I came back home, believe it or not.
That's a responsible dude. Needed his rest. Probably had practice the next day. Chris Stanfield is our guest. Hey, man, there's more I want to talk about with the team, but you're doing an awesome thing, man, the Be the One campaign for the Miracle League. By the way, my audience knows this, but I'll tell you. So I got a special needs kiddo. He's played Miracle League for the last 4 or 5 years. Such an awesome organization. Why did you choose to partner with Miracle League?
Yeah, so that, that's amazing to hear. I love to meet your son,
Oh, you'll have an opportunity.
Okay, cool.
He'll just be bebopping around the outfield, just not paying attention to anything going on. But that's the beautiful thing about Miracle League.
No doubt. That's awesome. So, in middle school, that was my first time really working with the Miracle League. And I just went out there one night and, just participated where I could, help them out, was just, interacting and seeing the smiles on their faces and just seeing the impact and really realizing the life that I have and wanting to do something bigger because it's always bigger than baseball. And, so my parents have really instilled giving back into me. So throughout middle school and high school, I continue to work with them. No campaigns or anything, but I just go out there and volunteer and, just like take a step away from my baseball and, really like gain some perspective. And then going into my freshman year at Auburn, I didn't do anything, but my hat flew off a lot, like running around in the outfield. I was kind of getting the dreads. Like it was like there are stages to the dreads. So my hat was like barely fitting, and every time I ran, it would fly off. So like in the crowd and with my parents, like it became a thing. People would count how many times my hat would fly off, believe it or not. So sophomore year, I had a, really good freshman year, and the Auburn community really stood behind me, and they believed in me as well, so I didn't want, and I always wanted to give back. Like I said, my parents instilled in me. So we thought about, what would be something I could do that's, kind of fun and still is within baseball, but, you're giving back to the community, especially after my freshman year. So that I came up with the Hats Off 3 campaign, and I have a whole team that really helps me, get all the logistics. And that campaign was a hit. I raised $11,700.
Oh, wow. So it's every time your hat flew off that you made a donation?
Yeah, so it was only $3 though.
Okay.
So because I was number 3, and it was, you could donate, like people would just donate for a great cause, but ultimately, yes, sir, every time my hat would fly off, I donate $3.
That's awesome, man. Well, what you're doing here is that for every extra base hit, so home run, extra base hit, or you steal a base, for every game where that happens, you'll donate $100 to Miracle League, which is awesome. So it's the Be the One campaign, all benefiting Miracle League, which is again an amazing organization. I would encourage anybody, if you've never been out to the Miracle League, either go watch, go volunteer for a day. I mean, they always need volunteers because the kiddos usually have buddies with them in the field, kind of help them get base to base or whatever the case may be. So it's an awesome thing. So I assume like last year, I know Ashton Larson was out there a bunch. We've seen a bunch of LSU guys out at Miracle League over the years. So, I mean, have you talked about this with some of your teammates as well?
Yes, sir. We have. And over in the fall, we went to the Miracle League and had a really great event. And so, I'm definitely looking forward to finding a free weekend if possible this spring and going back out there to volunteer and, just interact like I have always done. But here at LSU, it's a little more busy. So,
sure.
Just really, I'm looking for a time, though, to definitely get back out there.
Well, you made a donation after the first game because you tripled your first at-bat ever as an LSU Tiger. Walk me through that AB, man. I mean, I don't think you were trying to think, hey, I'm gonna go bang a triple to deep center. It was the right center, but walk me through that AB.
Yeah, I really was just at the beginning of that game. Opening day was amazing. I don't know if you saw, but it was 11,000, the most. And, just really like being, like I said at the beginning, on the flip side, the home side of it was just super surreal. So I was leading off and I got down 0-2 pretty quickly. And I was just like, can't strike out first AB. So it was really just, looking to put the bat on the ball, and God willing, it dropped, and, I was able to ignite the crowd and really get the season off on a great note.
Hey, what's the thumbs up thing when y'all get on base? You look at the dugout, everybody does thumbs up. What is that?
So one of our teammates, there's just a funny pic of him doing it. And it's just something that kind of brings us all joy. And, we all love when we get a hit. So a little smile never hurts.
What pitcher on your team do you like facing the least?
Ooh, good question. I gotta go Cade Anderson though. He's elite.
What makes it so hard to face Cade?
I think, he can throw 4 pitches for strikes whenever. So you have to honor everything, but they're all really, really good pitches. So it's just like you're hitting behind an account versus a really, really talented arm, and that's never easy.
I know one of the things that Jay Johnson liked about you is he got to see you bang a couple of balls off of Paul Skeens when you were a freshman. Those types of things, like, remain firmly implanted in his brain, I know. What do you remember about facing Skeens that year?
Yeah, that's something I'll definitely never forget as well. No doubt. He was, as we all saw, he was so dominant. And really in my at-bat, like that was my freshman year. Going into that, I knew I was leading off as well for Auburn. And like my first at-bat, I knew. I'll actually tell you, so I go up there first AB and he threw a ball first pitch. So like the second pitch, I knew he's throwing a fastball. And I was like, just be on time. And was able to find a hole. So that one, I was ahead in the count and I was able to kind of jump him. And then my next AB, he struck me out. He was
He did
really
that
tough.
he did that to a lot of guys. Still is, as a matter of fact.
Yes, sir. No doubt. And then he, the next AB, my third at bat, I got in another advantage count. It was 2-0 and just was on time for the fastball. And, so like he was really tough, but like I was able to get myself in good counts that day. So very thankful for that.
He is Chris Stanfield, LSU outfielder. He's got the Be the One campaign, benefiting the Miracle League of Baton Rouge. Hey, if people want to learn more, if they want to be involved, what are we encouraging people to do? Where do they go to get info?
Yes, sir. So the link's in both my Twitter and Instagram bio right now. And I'm going to talk to my team and my parents. I know last year at Auburn, we did some buck slips with QR codes and at the games, they would get passed around and people could donate that way as well. So I'm looking, the crowd's much bigger now. So we're kind of figuring out logistically how that would work and if that would be okay. But more details with that coming soon. But right now, the links are in my Instagram bio, which is at Chris.Stanfield, and then my Twitter, which is _ and then Chris Stanfield. And you can just click on the link, and then it'll take you through a donation process.
Yep, I just clicked on it right there. So it's, again, Twitter is at _ Chris Stanfield. And then tell me again, what was Insta is again?
Instagram's just Chris.Stanfield.
Chris.Stanfield. Okay. Y'all go make a donation. It's super easy. Yeah, Paul just pulled it up right there. That's the website. There's a make a donation button right there. So if you want to go contribute, you can. Miracle League's an awesome organization. So if you can, be generous. Chris Stanfield. Hey, man, good luck the rest of the way. I'm sure we'll catch up somewhere down the line. We appreciate a couple of minutes, and thanks for what you're doing for Miracle League.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Matt, a lot. Hope to see you soon. Go Tiger.
Will do, man. It's our pleasure. That is Chris Stanfield. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. For Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, great time. Y'all, I want to remind you, coming up here soon at the end of this month, they're having an awesome diamond, a 3-day diamond event over at the Lee Michaels in the Mall of Louisiana. It's their wedding sort of diamond bridal event. So if you're getting engaged, getting married, they have a huge selection of wedding bands, engagement rings that you can try on. You can compare 3 days only at the Mall of Louisiana, March 20th through the 22nd. So make sure you mark down those dates. If you're getting engaged, if you're engaged, you're getting married, make sure, again, March 20th through 22nd, you get to the bridal event over at Lee Michaels in the Mall of Louisiana, March 20th through the 22nd. You can learn more at lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, let me knock out our final break of the show. Appreciate Chris Stanfield. If you missed anything, Jake Madison was here. Kendall Rogers was here. We talked a bunch about Kyle Williams, LSU's new defensive coordinator. Defensive line coach. New defensive line coach. Otter, to wrap up with Otter Locks next. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, that's where you find them. 752-0001 or 1hourbr.com. Tell you every single day when you call River City's 1 Hour Air, you're going to talk to a person. Nights, holidays, weekends, they'll always come out and see you nights, holidays, weekends, and they'll never charge you extra to come out nights, holidays, and weekends. I love this 5-star review from Diana Landry, who said, John Leo did a wonderful job servicing my heater for the winter. Went over everything. He checked, said everything was in good working order. John went above and beyond by carrying in my grocery order for me. Said I was dizzy today. It would have been such a struggle for me to get my items in. He was a blessing for me. Thank you, John, for everything. 1 Hour Air and Heating have the best workers. Another 5-star Google review for River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. They'll even carry your groceries in for you. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family-owned and community-driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime. At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. You can always learn more, decisioncriticalbr.com. Okay, one thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance. Now's the time to get that AC unit checked before it really gets hot. Normally $179, just $79 when you mention Otter Locks. Total Maintenance, 480-1000.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
Doing good, Matthew. Another tough, close loss last night. Close to a 3-1 night, but that's all right. That's all right. About half a point. Again, single-digit lines, pitching and catching. So hopefully a lot of you thought that half a point to get a push last night. I got to add on from the best submitted on the website. Let's start off with that. That's a 6 o'clock tip-off. Going to Birmingham, UAB hosting Florida Atlantic. Remember Florida Atlantic 2 years ago made it to the Final Four. Well, the coach is gone. He's at Michigan. He took one of his best players, Goldens. He's with him at Michigan. John L. Davis, the other best player, he's at Arkansas. It's a far cry from what they've been the last couple of years under Dusty May. They're going to play Andy Kennedy and the Blazers. This line is going down last few minutes from 6.5. I've seen some 5.5s, but I think it's 6 right now at DraftKings. But
6.5.
lay the points with 6.5 or 5.5 a point to -6, and lay the juice there if you are buying that. There are some 5.5s out there if you are shopping. Going across town on the bluff, Southern 14-2 in league play this year. Now they get ready for money time in the SWAC tournament. Soft number here at 5.5. We're going to lay it at home at the F.G. Clark Activity Center.
All right. Southern laying 5.5 against Alabama State.
Iowa might be the last hurrah for Fran McCaffrey, the coach at Iowa. Michigan State.
1 minute remaining.
I mean, they've been cashing. People have been betting them. Now it's a little bit of an exhale spot. This is not the same caliber of competition. Look for them to sleepwalk a little bit tonight. Maybe Iowa can stay within close. And then we got one more tonight in the NBA. The Knicks are only a couple of games behind, a few games behind the Boston Celtics, but they have a losing record against teams with winning records this year. Playing at the Lakers tonight, please make sure that Luka and LeBron play. They're always a game-time decision until 45 minutes to go. But we expect them to play on national TV tonight. They're playing hard. Playing much better defense than was anticipated. Lakers -2.5.
Iowa, Southern, UAB, and the Lakers. Those are your Otter locks. Where are you tomorrow? Oh, it's Friday, Rufino's.
Rufino's. Hopefully Charlie can get around a train tomorrow and get to Rufino. Good luck.
There are train tracks right there by Rufino's, as a matter of fact. We got to go. We'll see you. That's Otter. Muse, Paulie, thanks.
AFR.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.